What's up, guys? Hopefully you find this. Hey, guys. What's up? What's up, great one kid? Sorry, guys. I don't know what the heck I did. I went into like a weird new thing that I don't even know what the heck it was. Hopefully everyone finds. Okay, everyone's coming over. I don't know what was wrong, but at least we have a new room to play in. Hello, everybody. New window. I'm just going until I'm going into the other room. I don't know why. I could talk in the other room, but I couldn't go in the other room. Where is I'm gonna go in the other room. In a new Hopefully everyone comes over now. I see 3 people are still waiting in the other room. Do. Oh, hello. I don't know what the heck's going on. I just wasted the last 20 minutes trying to figure it out. Finally was able to make a new room. I almost started thinking that it wasn't letting me live chat anymore. I mean, like live stream anymore. Like maybe I exceeded my live chatting abilities. Hello, everybody. Hello. Steph, great one, kid. I just saw a third person pop in. I think that was my brother, but he disappeared again. I always hate when that happens. Now I got to redo everything while we chat because now I don't have a freaking. What did you think about the ending? Having sat on it, I definitely like the ending, but I have problems with the season. Once I actually sat down and thought about it, I feel like they started side stories that never amounted to anything. Like one of my biggest things that I thought about was they made such a big deal out of Mike and Nancy's mother. Like what was that whole I mean, I feel like they dove in deep with her and Mike with Mrs. Wheeler almost cheating on the husband, and then they just dropped the ball and you never saw Mrs. Wheeler again, almost like she didn't even matter. I'm wondering why they focused so much on her in the beginning and then it amounted to nothing. Like little things like that, I just don't understand why they focus so much time on unless it amounts to something later. Who else is in the room with us here? I see a third person. Is that you, Ray, my brother? I'm just trying to. What's up, Daniel D? I'm just trying to copy and paste everything over to the new room now because Lord knows why it won't let me get into the original room. Hello, everybody. Sorry if you're going to the other room. I'm going to delete it now. What's up? Can you believe why are there 2? I'm trying to stop the other one. The other one is going to be halted. I couldn't get in the room for some reason, so I had to make a new room. 3. I'm just copying, pasting everything over so people could find it. Don't ask me why I couldn't get in the room. So bear with me. Feel free, technical difficulties. Feel free to ask questions and chat away. I will be looking momentarily. I'm just trying to copy and paste everything over so that people know that I'm over in this one. And then I'm going to delete it so no one will make that mistake. It's good to see you all here. I got my usual group coming on. Just got to do one more thing, and then we will all be back, and I'll erase the other live stream. What up, brother? I'm Ray. Is that really your name, Great One Kid? Because that's my brother's name. Stop the other live stream before it explodes. Where did you go, live stream? I hate when I plan one ahead of time and I have to like do all this. This happened once before, and it probably is completely my fault, but I don't know. I'm not positive about that. I'm going to erase this one, erase that one, and erase that. Okay, we should be good. All should be good, guys. Sorry about all the confusion. We're like 20 minutes behind. The world is going to end because of this. All right. Did Hopper make any Hellboy references? I don't think he did. Wasn't this filmed? I think this was filmed way before Hellboy, wasn't it? I could be wrong because Hellboy came out a couple months before this. I think this was filmed though way before that. I didn't recognize any Hellboy references. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. But I don't think there was any Hellboy references. Is my brother in here? I'm just curious because he was in the other room trying to help me with the technical difficulties, and now I feel like he's the only one not in here with us. I like how someone gave me a thumbs down while I'm trying to figure out the technical difficulties. Someone like came in the room while I was trying to figure it out and gave me a thumbs down. They don't affect me that much. I just think it's funny. I just like to reference when people do weird things with, oh, was it you, Great One Kid? Because now it's gone. I feel like I should have known, honestly. I think it was Great One Kid. Oh no, now there it is again. Maybe it wasn't him. I don't know. Oh, it is you. It is him. I figured it was because I'm like, what the hell's going on? I didn't even do anything yet. All right. Now that I'm all situated. Damn it, Ray. Yeah. Did you know my brother's name is Ray? Sometimes I almost don't believe people because I feel like you heard me say my brother's name a bunch of times and now you're pretending. Not that Ray is a godly name, but to confuse me. I still love all of you. I love you, Great One Kid. Wait. I added the like back so I didn't know who that is. Oh, well, I think it went away. Let me reload and see. Yeah, it's gone now. It's gone now, so it's all good. It says 0 now. Yeah, it does. It says 0 now. Now it says 1 and that -1 again. I think you're screwing with it because as soon as I said that, it went back to -1. I'm not gonna lie. Can you believe the never-ending story part wasn't even spoiled? Oh, thank God I put the cap on that. The never-ending story part wasn't even spoiled for me. Even though someone said it, I'm not going to kid you. I completely forgot all about that. Even if I did remember, I did not think that was going to happen. And honestly, that is probably one of the funniest parts of the show. I'm wondering if I would like it as much if I wasn't such a fan of Neverending Story. But I am a huge fan. I always forget which way I've got to go. I am a huge fan of Neverending Story. So based on that, big fan of that scene. The fact that Susie was actually real, love that Susie was real. I said the whole season, I was like, I really hope Susie isn't like made up because Dustin is awkward. And at the end of last season, I felt so bad. Nancy danced with him. I hope that would build his confidence and he'd go out there. And then I was like, after all that happened, I'd feel horrible if he had to make up a fake girlfriend and like all that happened. Yeah, if you weren't a fan, it'd probably be weird. I think I'd have to agree with that. But the fact that it all happened at the same time, like you find out there's a Susie, the whole I feel like the Phoebe Cates reference happened right before that or right after that, and then the never ending story thing. It just had so much like things that I referenced. I was like, there's going to be Phoebe Cates. I really think there's a Susie. And then someone said the never ending story. And then all that culminated into like 1 10-minute scene. So I think I was just overjoyed with the amount of like, because I guessed most of those things. And I was like, right there, I'm right there, I'm right there. They did foreshadow them. I'm not a genius. I'm not trying to say I'm a smart person over here. I just liked that I got verification that most of what I said was true. Very emotional. Remember when Brock Lesnar played for the Vikings? I don't remember that actually, but I know that's a thing. I really do know that's a thing. Whatchamacallit. So yeah, was anyone else thrown off by Miss Wheeler? Like Miss Wheeler, I feel like had like a very strong storyline going in the first 4 episodes, which amounted to her not going with Billy because she couldn't, even if she did decide to go with Billy, she couldn't. And then they just totally dropped Miss Wheeler. You see her like 2 other times. She has the little heart to heart with Nancy, which was like needed, I guess, because it was a nice mother-daughter talk, building up women out in that world where like it was tough for women in the work world. I get it. But I feel like they just totally dropped the ball with Miss Wheeler after that. The only other time I can remember from Nancy and her having the heart to heart in episode 4 was Joyce running into her and being like, hey, we should hang out. And that was it. I feel like Miss Wheeler totally just almost like a Lost thing where like when they brought up Walt and then Walt just vanished and you're like, hey, I kind of like forgot about Walt. What was the deal with that? Like, unless they're going to do something later on, I feel like Miss Wheeler got the shaft on that. And yes, they said 5 seasons. From what I'm told, I mean, they could always change it. But from what I've read and what I've been told, 5 seasons and they're done. I guess they could always change that, but right now that's it. And the Duffer Brothers, I think, said they have it all mapped out. Like everything is already like done in their minds. So it's just a matter of getting it done, I guess. This is a sign of things to come. Plot threads are going to get fumbled more often. I didn't mean to sound like negative when I was watching the last 4, but I made references a couple times that I was saying, like, this is very unbelievable. And I know it's sci-fi and I know it's like young kids and it's like whatever 80s nostalgia. But after I watched the finale, I watched a couple reviews and stuff just to see what other people thought of it, other opinions. And everybody, Angry Joe, like whoever else I watch, Grace Randolph, all of them were saying the same thing. They were like, I know it's sci-fi and I know it's like supposed to be fun and everything, but the first 2 seasons were buyable. Like you could like I know they're science fiction. I know it can't really happen, but people were saying what I was saying, like, all right, a couple kids broke into a Russian base. They weren't shot and killed. I know they don't want to be violent and crazy like that, but they literally cracked they even make fun of themselves in the show. They cracked the code in a day and busted into a Russian super secret facility, like Area 51 type super secret facility. And don't get me wrong, I still love the season and everything, but I feel like this season jumped the shark and went way above disbelief. And I didn't want to be negative saying that. I said it, but I like felt bad because I'm like, am I supposed to accept this in this show? Like there's certain shows you just have to extend disbelief and you're like, all right. But then when people pointed out certain things to me, I'm like, you're right. Season 1 was like almost like a horror movie and it was more realistic in the sense that they didn't have plot armor and anybody was like vulnerable. In this, you're like almost like no one's going to die of importance. These kids could get away with anything and they'll succeed and they'll live. And like I said, I still enjoy the show, but that's how I was feeling through like the last 4 episodes. They basically have plot armor where they like almost like you don't even fear for them. And even like Elle, where she loses her powers, you're like, you know, she's going to get him back. Hopper died. Did he die? I don't think he died. I didn't even get emotional when Hopper died. It was nice. It was a nice moment. It was sad. The letter was great, but it's like almost like I don't believe them so much that it didn't even affect me because I'm like, Hopper's obviously alive. But like I said, I'm not hating the season. I just feel like once I sat and thought about it, there are a lot of like down moments and like negatives, I could say, but it was still a good season. I'm starting to lean more towards it not being my favorite season. I right off the bat, I was like, this was my favorite. But then when I sat on it, I don't know. Honestly, it's probably a more watchable season. But season one is like, I think more well done and more horrific. Season one. See, I still think season three is probably better than season two. But I still think, I think season one was just like, you didn't expect it and you didn't know what was going to happen. I think we went into season one not knowing if there was going to be more seasons. So like anyone could have died. And it was like, you were more tense over the situations, I feel. Now I'm going to read comments because I just talked for 5 hours. This is a sign of things to come. This season seems to be made for the hype. I could chalk that up to poking fun at 80s movies. That kind of stuff happened all the time. Yeah, they even had Back to the Future music in some segments. Yeah, like I did dig that when they were on the walkie-talkies and it was like da 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 and it was playing like Back to the Future. It worked very well with the scene and it reminded me of when Doc was in the air talking to Marty but that was Back to the Future Part 2. But when they're talking and he's like, you're gonna get struck by lightning. And then it like sounded like that moment. And they were yelling through the walkie talkies and stuff. Sounded just like when Marty McFly was yelling in the walkie talkie to Doc. But like I said, that was Back to the Future 2, but it had to be referencing that along with the songs they picked. One of the songs in the episodes was from Beverly Hills Cop, the original, when he's blowing through LA, getting chased by, or no, Axel Foley's driving the cement truck. I think it's called the Neutron Dance, but whatever it is definitely from Beverly Hills Cop. Then there was Jackie Brown's what is it called? Higher, I said your love lifts me higher, whatever the heck it's called. Jackie Brown was in Ghostbusters 2, another 80s movie. Has to be references to these things because these are movies I watched epically as a kid of the 80s. So I'm assuming they had to be subtle references. I mean, and then there was obvious references all over. The Terminator, there was references to the aliens with the face sucker things. Tons of references. They were constantly doing product placement with Coke. Like, remember New Coke? Remember Sam Goody? Remember Orange Julius? Like all over the place. I dug that though. I dig that kind of stuff. You think this is going the way of Fast and the Furious, where by the end it feels completely different from its origins and it's almost different game. I don't know if if it only lasts 5 seasons, it might not go long enough to get to that point, but I see where you're going with that. The first Fast and the Furious was such like a down to earth, like local car guys, like mechanic, like grease monkey kind of guys. And now it is just the most insane action movie of all time where like you can literally kick a missile into a car. That happens in one of them. I think it's Fast 5. I think maybe it's part 6 where The Rock kicks a missile into another car. That is real life. Where was I? Heck, they had pseudo Gremlins music in the second season when Dart got loose in the school. Was it? I can't remember. I'm sure you're right. I do not doubt you, Steph. I just don't remember that exactly. But I'm shocked I don't because Gremlins is one of my favorite. Poster in my house. So you watched a Goofy movie, right? Yes, I've seen the Goofy movie. I used to watch Goof Troop and all that stuff, Disney Afternoon. Anyone catch the Pizza Hut commercial? No. I did notice they were eating Burger King a lot, and then I wasn't sure. It had the old school Burger King like wrappers and stuff, and I'm like, is that Burger King or is it generic? And then in the mall, I saw a Burger King, so there definitely was Burger King references. Oh, Domino's. I did see Domino's. Yes, I did see Domino's. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember seeing Domino's. Definitely remember Burger King. Taco Bell. Wait, was it Taco? Oh, no. I'm thinking of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they had one of the first Taco Bells, and it looked so odd. Da-da-da-da. Anyone get that? I made a comment above about the pool scene with Billy using Phoebe Cates' pool scene song. Oh my God. Was that the song? How did I miss that? I got like, and he even wore the red trunks. Like Phoebe Cates had the red swimsuit. I guess that's a standard lifeguard uniform, but I don't remember. See, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I've watched a handful of times, but probably not in a really long time. And it was never one of my like go-tos because I think like I was more into like the Goonies, Gremlins, like sci-fi type movies. Not that it was a bad movie. I just don't remember like detailed references like that, but that's pretty cool. I don't know how I didn't pick up on that with the whole pool thing. I probably should have. Those elements definitely work. I love the references. I think more shows would do it. Sorry, it was Domino's. I saw that the actor who played Steve did it in the style of Ferris Bueller. Did he? Maybe I don't remember. I don't know. Now I'm blanking on that. Was Steve in the Domino's commercial, Ray? Is that what you're saying? Or just like in general, he acted like Ferris Bueller. Yes, that was the same song, Moving in Stereo by the Cars. That's freaking hilarious. Of all the movie song reference, I mean, of all the song references I got, I can't believe I missed probably the most obvious one. Freaks and Geeks or Dazed and Confused. It's older, yes. Oh, okay. Freaks and Geeks or Dazed and Confused. Probably Freaks and Geeks. More of my favorite comedians came out of Freaks and Geeks. Dazed and Confused was good, though. Matthew McConaughey, gotta love it. But I definitely, if I was going to put on one right now for shits and giggles, it'd probably be Freaks and Geeks. I get more laughs and love out of that. But we're trying to talk Stranger Things. I mean, you could ask, I don't care. Let's think, though. I'm trying to think of what else I could have missed. So I feel like this is like an Avengers type thing where like the Sokovia Accords happen, like thousands of people died. Not to that level, but half of Hawkins is like dead. Like a lot of people died. Like the whole show, I'm thinking this has got to be clones, because if this isn't clones or they're not like cocooned somewhere, then there are like at least 100 townspeople that are dead, including women and children. And no, they're the real people. They're just turning into plasma like mush. So Heather and her whole family's dead. The poor lifeguard girl, there was a couple little kids we saw. Like Hawkins is destroyed. But and I don't blame the buyers for leaving. Winona was already like contemplating leaving after the first incident. Now we have whatchamacallit, Hopper's dead. The Thing came back, almost destroyed their family again. Like, I don't blame her for leaving. And now half of Hawkins is dead. The mayor is crooked. There's a Terminator and Russians all over with an underground like facility. What the hell? Like, who wants to live in Hawkins right now? Yeah, in the news clip. Yeah, in the news clip, they do address it. You're right. I forgot about that. Someone was also, who do you think should have died? I'll get to that in a second. Someone also referenced that, what was it? I totally forgot. Oh, that are the facilities connected? Like the Russian facility and the one in Hawkins. They look identical. They have the same machine, and obviously there could have been a time jump because they said the American's in there. I am assuming the American is Hopper. It could be other people. Some people in reviews were saying maybe it's Eleven's father, and they're totally throwing us for a loop, like it is in Matthew Modine or Hopper. It's like Eleven's father, and they've been experimenting on him this entire time. I guess that's a possibility, but I don't think they've even mentioned Eleven's father. They mentioned the mother a couple times, season 1, stuff like that. But I don't think that is the case. However, I feel like the facilities might be connected. Maybe there's like a portal or like a black hole or something type thing where they could go through. Maybe that's why Hopper's not dead. Maybe Hopper, when the machine exploded, maybe it opened a rip or it launched him through the hole and he came back through in the Russian side. Anybody on board with me there? I feel like that could be a case because how else did all the Russians escape? How else could Hopper be alive if he is, which I think he is? I just feel like it's got to be the case. I'll go back to comments now. Who do you think should have died? I don't think anyone should have died. Who did I think was going to die? For a second, I thought Mike might die. And I wouldn't have minded too much because he was kind of a prick this episode. Till the end, he got more lovable. But Mike is probably my least favorite of the main group. Mike got really arrogant, cursed off Hopper. I get it. He's a young kid in love, hormones raging. I don't hate him, but he's probably my least favorite of the kids. Dustin's my favorite. Lucas is hilarious. I love Lucas. And the banter between him and Max is phenomenal. They're like a nagging married couple, and I love it. But Lucas had a lot of good lines. Dustin only trumped him because Dustin had more, and him and Steve are amazing together. But if it wasn't for Dustin and Steve and Dustin having so much like screen time, Lucas was hilarious. Will was kind of like non-existent this season, but he didn't do anything bad or stupid, so I didn't mind him. Mike was like kind of a prick, but Will, like, I feel like Will was so predominant in the first two seasons. Maybe he took a back seat to the season, like sort of like a red herring, like Will got possessed the first two. So like, oh, my neck's itching. And we're like, oh my God, is it going to be Will again? But no, it's Billy. And Will takes a back seat, but definitely like 11. Like I said, Max is real cool. 11. I love 11's like her mannerisms, how they shift. Cause she's rapidly learning how to interact and socialize. And you could see she's like trying to be a typical young girl, but still like learning as like almost like an alien, so to speak, because she was like sheltered her whole life. So definitely cool stuff. But that's probably my ranking of the kids. Dustin and Steve fall up there. Then Lucas and Max. Then probably Elle. Even though like Elle had a lot of cool scenes, but then she lost her powers. And the fact she was tied to Mike kind of like made me drop her in the ranks. But Elle is probably in there with like Max and Lucas, I guess. But Will just didn't do a whole lot, and Mike was a prick. And Nancy and Jonathan, I liked Nancy a lot, but I feel like Jonathan dragged her down. And Jonathan was probably the least used in this whole season, even less than Will. Jonathan kind of just like sat there. I literally, every time I saw him, it almost looked like he was just like scratching his head like, duh, I don't know what's going on. Maybe my Nancy could figure it out. And like Nancy, like I felt like Nancy was dragging him along like a whipped puppy or something. So didn't dig Jonathan too much. Didn't hate him, but he just didn't do a whole lot. Gonna go back to the comments. They did start addressing it. It's not that big if they die. Small town, middle of nowhere, and in the 80s means no major news coverage. They might explore and that more in the next season. Maybe Hawkins becomes a ghost town. A lot of people said it in Avengers. In the Sokovia one, people were like, no one's going to reference it. And then the next one, they actually made the Sokovia Accords, which made like them have to tell if they were like powered people. So they probably will reference it because movies like that did. And in Infinity War, I mean, in Endgame, they referenced how Infinity War snapped out half of existence. So these shows do acknowledge when they're doing things nowadays. So they probably will. There'll probably be like a huge rebuilding phase for Hawkins. And I'm assuming they will acknowledge it. But those people died. There was like a lot of deaths in that town this season. Like no other shows do. Like if you go back to like kid 80s movies like E.T., Goonies, stuff like that, they didn't slaughter whole towns. But this is also R-rated. I'm assuming this is R-rated. I don't know. Is it R-rated? There's a lot of blood and violence, but maybe it's not R-rated. It's not that bit, but they might explore that more. No, I read that. If that happens, the group has to turn into Scooby-Doo. They should have a crossover. Do a little Scooby-Doo with the kids. Hopper is not dead. Do you have to watch a video called Hopper is in Dead Proof? And it will show you that Hopper isn't really dead. I figured he's not. Is that an actual video? A video called Hopper is in Dead Proof? I think that's typoed. I think that's a typo. I forget who mentioned it. Is that really the video? I'm going to have to look that up. I forget. I'm just curious what it is. I forget who mentioned it, but I think Hopper is in the Upside Down. Yeah, someone else. I don't know if it was in the chat, but someone said that to me or someone I listened to said it or something, or maybe it was in the chat. But yeah, he might have. Oh, he might have got knocked through the rip. That's right. Someone said he might have gotten like propelled through the rip before it sealed, and yeah, now he's trapped in the upside down. Very possible. But then, if that's the case, who is the American that the Russians have? Maybe it is Elle's father, or maybe it is Matthew Modine. How refresh me, people that are very clear, because I've only watched I only watched Stranger Things season 1 and 2 once. What did happen to Matthew Modine? Like, what was the last we saw? I remember he was in the hall and all the creatures attacked, and we assumed he got like mauled and murdered. But is that the last we saw? I feel like we did see him once more. But like either way, we did. I don't think we saw his body, or we must not have. If you guys are saying it could be Matthew Modine, I just don't. I'm not exactly perfectly clear on how he ended with us. And Paul Reiser's around. Well, we saw the Demigorgon jump him, but we didn't see him die. Okay, that's what I thought. So that was the last we saw. I remember the scene. He was in the hallway of the facility, and you hear the sounds, and then he's mauled. I guess that is the last scene. I thought maybe I missed something, like there was a little bit extra, or like an after credit scene I forgot about. Either way, we didn't see a body. We're going with the we didn't see a body theory on that one. Will and Max are probably my least favorite of the kids. Will is, see, I mean, maybe Mike is worth watching because he's got attitude, and I guess it's entertainment, but he's definitely the shittiest of the kids, I'd say, right? He's definitely like, none of the kids got mean or cursed out any adults or something like that. Not that you shouldn't curse out adults, but Hopper meant well. And he, not for nothing, he's your girlfriend's legal father, legal guardian. Like, what are you, stupid? You're going to bitch out and curse at your friggin' girlfriend's father? I had some shitty girlfriends in my life, or not shitty girlfriends. I've had some girlfriends that have had shitty fathers, I should say. And I always respected them. I never lashed out like a crazy person, let alone said, like, go fuck off. What did he say? Eat shit or go fuck off? Or he said something fucked up to Hopper. I did not care for the way Mike and Elle reacted. Yeah. I mean, I give Elle a slide because she's socially like awkward and doesn't really know, I guess, even though she should know how to respect, like she should know that that's not respectful. But I do give her a pass because she's like learning, and I'm giving, like, even though she's whatever age she is, she's like got the mind or the social mind of like a small child, probably. I'm not saying she's dumb. I'm saying she just hasn't had interactions like that, but she still should understand respect. But Mike grew up as a normal person and should definitely not, especially Elle, it's her father. Like we all act weird around our parents. We could get away with things with our own parents. But if our girlfriends or boyfriends mouth off to our fathers, I don't know about you, but my father would backhand them through a wall. My brother could vouch for that. But although I liked Max much more this season than I did last, I definitely agree with you there. Even though Max was on the top of my list, last season, I didn't even like remember her, honestly. Like I barely remembered her, but she was like, they didn't use her too much. They were kind of segueing her in, I guess. But this season, they immediately jumped in. Like Max and Elle are best friends. Like basically they're inseparable the first half of the season. And I dug it. It was a nice little aspect. You see the girl relationship, like friendship between them. The first 2 seasons, we saw the guys, like there's a strong bond between the 4 dudes. And Elle jumps in, but Elle's like socially awkward. Now we have like the aspect of the girl side. I dig it. I liked it. They had a lot of cool montages with like Madonna songs, shopping and stuff like that. Definitely enjoyed it. And Max definitely was on the top of my list this season, so it worked. But ViewMasters, if you mean upside down in a coffin, then yeah. Actually, well, we saw the Demigorgon. Oh, I saw that. I did not care. I saw that. Hop's a cop. You think he'd get a little more respect. Exactly. He's your girlfriend's father. And yeah, I didn't even think of that aspect. He's law enforcement in your town and your girlfriend's father. What did he say to him? I'm blanking. He said, did he say fuck off? Or did he say eat shit? He said something with a curse word. There is definitely a curse word, but I don't know if it was as bad as fuck. It might have been just shit, but it was definitely a curse word. Anyone worried about the kids not aging well for the later seasons? They're getting to the age where it can make or break child actors. A teen respecting the law. I'm going to go on Ray's comment before I read the next one. Eat shit. Okay, that's what I thought. Eat shit. I for a second, I was like, did he say the F word? But I don't think he did. Okay, thank you, great one, kid. As far as Ray's last comment, I think Mike called him a fucking liar last. That might be true too. Oh, that's right. When Elle walked into the cabin and they like at the like second to last episode, I think it was. Yeah, you're right. I think he did. So all right, Mike's had the worst potty mouth of this show. Shame on you, Mike. But back to Ray's comment with the aging. This is reminding me of The Wire, where this season, I'm on season 5, Dookie has grown so much more than anyone else. Like Michael looks, well, so far I've only seen Michael, but Michael and Bug look well, I saw Bug too, but Bug's a little dude. They look exactly the same. Dookie grew like 1.5 feet and his voice got so deep that, granted, this is the last season of The Wire, but he is literally so much different than the rest of them now that it actually is distracting somewhat. But Dookie wasn't like a super, super popular predominant character. So I guess it's enough to slide by. But these kids are the main focus of the show. What's up, Chris Manger? Mergner. I'm sorry, Chris Mergner. But these 4 kids are the main focus. And now we have Max and Elle, who are also part of the group. Nancy and Jonathan are basically grown at this point. So I don't see that affecting Steve, Robin. Like, I feel like they're at an age where they've probably hit their growth spurt. Speaking of Robin, who else thought that Robin was definitely flirting with Steve? Even though Robin said, no, I was into the girl Tammy that was into you. She was definitely being flirty in the first 4 episodes. That was more than just playful friendship banter. She was giving him like dollar. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just wanted it to be so, but I really like the dynamic between Robin and Steve. And I feel like she was giving him doe eyes and she was being like very flirtatious. Now, someone, Angry Joe, I watched his review immediately after I stopped the stream with you guys. And Angry Joe said the same thing as me and was like, they were definitely being flirty. Maybe she's bi. She never actually said, I'm a lesbian, but she did like go like, Steve, what do you mean? Like, you get it? I am a lesbian. But I mean, it's possible she's bi. All I know is it seemed very in your face that she was flirting with Steve. I mean, if that's what she is, that's what she is. I just really dig Robin's character. Robin was probably one of my favorite new additions. Actually, she was probably my favorite new addition and one of my favorite characters in the show this season. But I kind of wanted Steve to have like a fairy tale ending and get like the girl. He poured his heart out with his truth serum and he didn't get the girl. I mean, you could see at the end they were buddy and they're like good friends getting a job together and stuff like that. But I don't know, maybe it'll blossom into something, but she'd have to be bi for that to happen. I don't want him to like take a lesbian character and make them straight. Like if she's a lesbian, then so be it. I think that would be worse if they made her a lesbian and then made her go straight. But I mean, they're saying Will might be gay. I'm assuming Will's gay. They were hinting to it. They didn't flat out say that either, but I'm assuming Will is gay. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going with Robin's character, but even at the end there, her and Steve, maybe they're trying to show like, hey, a girl and a guy could be really good friends and not have like sexual tension. That would be cool if they did that. But for some reason, I feel like they like lied to us in the first half of the season and made us want to believe that they were going to date. Teen respecting the law. I know this is a sci-fi, but that'd be totally unbelievable. True, but this is different. Teens not respecting the law is one thing. Teens not respecting Hopper, who helped save the world and whose daughter is now your girlfriend. That's a lot different. Dookie's getting his daily amount of vitamins and nutrients now. I'd imagine they'd help in the growing age. I think they'll do. That's true. That is a good true. He's getting actually fed now. I think they'll just pick up girls to get. I think they'll just pick up girls together. That might be the case. I did see another show recently like that, where it was like trying to prove that like a girl and a guy who are both attractive and one is into the other but can still be friends because the other's gay or something like that. I feel like I just saw that on some other show. Oh, and this was the tea I was talking about the other day. Someone said like something else leaf, and I agreed, but it's purely real leaf. Someone said real leaf. It's pure leaf. Delicious. Not a sponsor. Just letting you know. I drink it all the time. It is delicious. And I have mango hibiscus. Delicious. Anyway, where was I? I loved Robin so much, and I really think she helped Steve grow more as a person. I definitely agree. Robin, and who didn't know this? I only know this because I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Maya Hawke, who is the actress that plays Robin, is in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it's Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter. As soon as someone told me that, I could see all the facial tics and mannerisms that like Uma Thurman has. She has the exact same eyes. Then someone pointed out she also has a lot of the same looks and mannerisms as Ethan Hawke, and she does. She is 100% their child. It is ridiculous how much. And she is very pretty, awesome actress, very believable. I dig everything about her. She's great Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as well. But that's the only reason I knew that was their daughter, because I kept saying, why does that girl look familiar when I saw it in the theaters? And then someone's like, probably because she looks like Uma Thurman. And I'm like, why would that mean anything? And then I found out. I really like the relationship. You think they David caged it where the story itself lied to you for the sake of a twist? You think they David caged it? What is that? What is David Cage? I'm assuming you're talking about referencing the relationship between Steve and Robin, but I don't know the reference. Robin was great, and she and Steve had great chemistry. I agree. I think Robin had great chemistry with Dustin too. She was very smart, and I bought her at like when she would start talking Russian or she'd make a goof or something. I like never was I like, oh, I didn't buy that, or like she was not a good actress. Like everything was great by her. Same with Steve. I love Steve. Dustin's great. Robin was great, and she and Steve have great chemistry. She sounds just like Uma. She does. Someone said Megan Fox has dad face, and I'll never unsee it. Who's Megan Fox's dad? Is Megan Fox's dad someone famous? Because if it is, I didn't know. Who the hell could Megan Fox's dad be? Jamie Foxx? No, obviously that's not. That's the only Fox I could think of, Jamie Foxx. But I'd be shocked if that was Megan Fox's father. Let's talk Never Ending Story, guys. I already said some things about it, but oh my God, amazing. I just keep thinking about it. They literally belted out Never Ending Story. And then Max and Lucas reference it later, pretend they're making fun, but we all know they love that shit. They knew all the words. You don't learn. It reminded me of Mark Wahlberg and the other guys, where he learns dance just to mock the guys that his ex-girlfriend hangs out with. And they're literally like, what did they say? I forget the reference they use, but they're like, you literally learned how to dance just so you could make fun of people. I don't know. It reminded me of that, where like they learned the whole Never Ending Story song just so they can mock Dustin. David Cage writes video games focused on solving mysteries, but leans on the story itself, lying and presenting fake information for the sake of surprise. Really? What's like a game I'd know he made? I don't know the name. David Cage. I'm not big with gaming people. My brother showed me Michael Fassbender has a shark mouth. What? What, like teeth? Michael Fassbender has like wacky teeth? Oh, I'm turning around. I'm going to be singing all week now, the Never Ending Story. You learn to dance like that sarcastically. Yes, that was it. I was like, what is the word they used? Yes, you learn to dance sarcastically. That's great. Oh, my shirt. But yes, the other guys. I just watched that the other day. Honestly, that is a classic comedy movie. That is one that you could rewatch, and it kind of holds its own. It definitely stays current. And it doesn't hurt that the main action guys are The Rock and Sam Jackson, who are in every movie and everyone knows them. Just look up the shark mouth thing. I'll look it up after we are done. But Michael Fassbender and his shark mouth. I'm intrigued. Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls. Oh, these are the games with Ellen Page. Oh, I do know that one with Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe. Indigo Prophecy. Detroit Become. I honestly, out of all of them, I think I know Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. And I only know Beyond Two Souls because I remember seeing the making of that with Ellen Page because people were saying like how closely similar it looked. Heavy Rain is one of those hundreds of games that I own, but I have never played. I don't own either of them, but I've definitely seen Beyond Two Souls, and I'm almost sure I've seen Heavy Rain. I'm in the same boat, though. Something just made a loud noise. I'm wondering if it's thundering outside. I haven't put it this way. I haven't bought a console in like 7 years, and I haven't bought a game in 5. And on my shelf over there, I probably have at least a dozen games still wrapped and unopened because I would buy everything that would come out, and half of them I never got to. And now it's 7 years later, and they're probably not even worth $1 at GameStop. Yeah, that's why the Ellen Page tried to sue the fuck out of David Cage because of it. That's actually why I noticed the game, because I saw all that popping up in movie news because she's an actress, and I went and checked it out. I feel like it was like a year, wasn't it around like a year or so before Umbrella Academy? I feel like it was close enough where Umbrella Academy was being talked about when all that broke news. Heavy Rain is good, has its flaws, but is really good. Heavy Rain is part of the Sadness trilogy. Games so bad they make you sad. What else is in the Sadness trilogy? Is it these other ones? Heavy Rain and stuff? I'm assuming they're all made by this David Cage fellow. I buy games every stream sale, but they just said, that's what I did. Last Christmas, I bought the Fractured Butthole. Wait, I think it was the Fractured Butthole. Is the new South Park? Maybe I'm wrong. Was that the old one? No, the stick one was the old one. I got the Fractured Butthole. I bought like Dos Equis or something like that. Not Dos Equis, that's beer. Dos Equis? I don't remember the name. But I bought the whole trilogy of these games, and I bought like South Park and all these. I've never opened. And I bought Friday the 13th. That's the only one I played. Dos Ex. I bought that whole like franchise of games, the South Park game and Friday the 13th. The only one I played was Friday the 13th, which was really cool. Like I said, I barely have time to do anything. I really enjoyed that though. Friday the 13th was pretty cool. I'm a big Friday the 13th fan though, so that's not to be surprised. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the show that I missed. So at the end there, like, what was your opinion on the end there? After they said the American and they grabbed the guy out of the cage and they throw him in, what are they doing? Are they breeding Demigorgon? That was a Demigorgon, correct? Like that wasn't at first I thought it was a Demidog because it was like on all fours, but then it stood up. So are they breeding Demigorgons? Or do they just have one that they're like feeding? Like, I'm not clear on where they were going with that ending. Curious where you guys' heads are at. But beyond the whole American thing, there was that too. What do we think in the chat over here? I'm going to do my last shot of wild turkey. They modeled her. Whoa, I got to go back. I buy games every. Oh, okay, now I'm right. They modeled her fully nude for no reason and against her will. I remember that. Whatever happened with that, though? I don't think I ever remember. I don't remember the conclusion to what occurred. Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and I don't know how to pronounce that, but those are the Sadness trilogy. Who knows? I think they just plucked him out of the Upside Down and are keeping him to study. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it was a Demigorgon. No idea. Like, see, I was like, I didn't want to jump the gun and be like, yeah, it's a Demigorgon, because I'm like, wasn't a Demigorgon like much bigger and stronger? But then it stood up and it kind of like took up the screen. I don't know. It was a weird angle they were showing. When it first crawled out, it was like the size of a dog and then kind of like expanded. It didn't expand, but it kind of just like stood up, I guess, and extended itself. But it like was very deceiving at first. Maybe try to make an army of Demigorgons, but like, what were they like? That's what I'm curious. I think that's right. I think they're trying to make like an army or breed them, so to speak. But how did they get them? Like how? Like I guess they pulled one out when they had the rip in the upside down. I don't know. The Russians are up to some tomfoolery. I didn't see though. Anyone else thinking that the facilities could be connected? Because unless it was just the time jump, every time it seemed like Russia was getting to like their facility very fast and vice versa. I mean, they could have just traveled, I guess, and it was a time jump, but I feel like they were leading us to believe that there was more than meets the eye with that. Oh, it definitely is thundering outside my house. Before I thought like the cat knocked over something, but it's definitely thundering out. David Cage also came up to Ellen Page with a portfolio full of her photos and when she was younger and didn't think that was creepy. What? It's a little creepy. She dropped the case because it would be a he said, she said battle with the guy no one knows and no one would remember. I guess that is typical of those situations. How in the hell would they control an army of Demigorgons? Not that they wouldn't try it, but I think that'd be hard. True, Steph. I wasn't thinking long term, but you are correct. Unless it's like the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park, even though I think that is crazy. What's his name? Chris Pratt controls Velociraptors. So maybe we could put little devices on the Demigorgons and control them. Could be that there are shortcut through the upside down. That's what I think. I think that's what yeah, I don't think it's a direct portal. That's what Ray, thank you for putting it that way. I don't think it's a direct portal from the facility to the facility. I think you could get to the upside down and then pop back out in the Russian facility. That's what I meant to say. I wasn't wording myself correctly, but that's what I think, which means there's probably a bunch of other facilities. You go on the upside down. It reminds me now, if you guys get this reference, I love you all, but Little Monsters with Howie Mandel and Fred Savage, where you could go under someone's bed and pop out in the monster world. And then like, or Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. was kind of the same way, where you could go under your bed, pop out in the monster world, and then go in another door and pop out under someone else's bed. I feel like that is our upside down, that you can go in one facility through the crack, go in the upside down, and come back out another. Little Monsters was a great 80s movie. Was that 80s? That might have been borderline 90s. Someone fact check me if you can. But I feel like Little Monsters was late. It was Fred Savage, and he was a tiny, tiny tadpole of a man. I'm willing to bet it was like 88, 89. I don't think it was quite 90s yet. So maybe they're like going to reference that kind of stuff, but that is a weird reference. I don't know many people that have seen Little Monsters. Howie Mandel, Fred Savage, other famous people. 89, great. It falls into 80s nostalgia. Thank you, Steph. We could have Little Monsters be a reference. Have any of you seen? I know Ray's seen it. My brother said, "Hi, God, I hated that movie. I know you loved it." I don't know why, Ray. I rewatched it. I'm not kidding. I rewatched it like not even a year ago, and I see why it's creepy and really disturbing. But I guess because the kid of me loved it, like I feel like adult Jay would not like this movie. But I think because I watched it so much as a kid that it like reminds me of it being a kid, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember these scenes. But now it is really weird and creepy. What that? Young Jay was weird for liking that as much as he did. I think I had a crush. The redheaded girl that was like Fred Savage's girlfriend. I think as a kid I had a crush on her, and I would rewatch it because almost solely because of that. Because she was like a tomboy and a bully kind of. I think that's why I watched it as much as I did. Maybe because Bobby's World, Howie Mandel did the voice. I mean, was the guy in Howie Mandel did the voice for Bobby. I don't know, Ray. It's a baffle to even myself. Brock Lesnar has a daughter, and she looks exactly how you imagine. I found out 2 weeks ago. That sounds like not a good thing, at least for her. Do you think we'll see Kaylee? Oh, 8 again in the future seasons. She seems like a big loose end. That was another loose end. Thank you, Steph. When I was trying to think of things that they dropped the ball on, Mrs. Wheeler, huge thing in the first half, nothing in the second half. The other group of kids, some people call them the Suicide Squad or something like that. I never heard of that reference, but I heard one or two people refer to him as that. I don't know if that's like a thing, but they were in like one episode, maybe 2 episodes last season. They've got to be a big focus of 4. Maybe like this was like, I saw a lot of people say this season was almost like 2.5 of Stranger Things. Like the event that happened was huge, but it felt kind of rushed. They were short. It was like one of the shortest seasons. One of the shortest seasons. It felt kind of rushed. And it seems like it got summed up very quickly in the end. I don't know. I just feel like it was like this. I feel like the writing wasn't as good as the other seasons and could have been much better. So as far as that goes, I don't know. But I'm willing to bet season 4 is going to be much more bigger, more episodes, like more focus on like aspects that we missed in this season, stuff like that. But isn't the Upside Down just a mirror version of the real world? I feel like it is, but it still feels like an alternate universe. So I feel like if you jump through the time rip, you can go in the alternate universe, come back out another rip, be in Russia. I don't know if that's what you were insinuating, but I feel like even though it is kind of a mirror version, it's like it's got different rules because it's almost like an alternate dimension. That's my theory, at least. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. Oh, God, I hated that movie. I read that. I have a feeling we'll see. How do you say her name? Kaylee? I totally forgot what her name is. I'm assuming it's Kaylee. But I don't remember the spelling's throwing me off. It was probably Kaylee, but in my head, I spelled it different. I was 17 when it came out, and I think if I'd been much younger, I would have dug it. I think you're referring to Little Monsters. If that is the case, then I finally learned your age, Steph. I think you told me before. We didn't have much choice back then. If you owned it on VHS, you were watching it. Very true. Yeah, that was one of the ones that was on. You say Little Monsters, but I'm picturing Garbage Pail Kids. Can you believe someone probably already commented on this, but Garbage Pail Kids was also one of my guilty pleasures. I've watched that dozens of times. It was ranked on Nostalgia Critics. I think it's Nostalgia Critics' worst movie of all time. He does like a 30 or 40-minute rant about how horrible and how much that movie sucks. And I watched it and thought it was hilarious because it isn't a good movie. But yet again, like my brother said, it's one of the ones my grandma bought for me on VHS, and I collected the cards. So I guess it kind of stuck. But Garbage Pail Kids, I've watched many times. I don't know if Ray liked that one, but that was another one where it's like a really bad movie that I watched a lot. So what you're saying is you owned and watched the green VHS tape that Tom Green made. The green VHS tape that Tom Green made. The green? I don't know what that is. Did he make that? Wait, what? Different movie. Oh, okay. Where in the hell were Winona and the kids moving to? I can't remember. Chicago. Is Ray Masters your brother? Yes, Ray Masters is my brother. Garbage Pail Kids got a Blu-ray release a while ago. Yeah, I saw that. Like, I remember, I think that's when Nostalgia Critic did his rant. I think it's because it was coming out on Blu-ray and he did a rant video about it. I'm pretty sure that is when he did it. And now Ray, all right, I'm caught up in the chat. Look at that. But yeah, it could have been other people too. A lot of people hate on Garbage Pail Kids. not for nothing. It isn't, it is a horrible movie, but there is so many worse movies. At least Garbage Pail Kids, like, kind of tried, I guess. There are some movies that are like The Room, where they're horribly bad, but like there are movies like The Room that aren't horribly bad, if you get what I'm saying. They're like as bad as The Room without the entertainment factor. So I feel like Garbage Pail Kids gets a lot of flack because it's like a bad mainstream movie that a lot of people heard about. There are a lot of shitty movies out there. So for the nostalgia critic, I love him. I love the nostalgia critic. I watch all his stuff. Kind of got into it because of him. Got into this whole thing. But I feel like he gives it a little too much grief. I feel like there is definitely a plethora of worse movies out there. The Tom Green Show was released on a green VHS tape. Was it? I don't remember that, but I do remember the Tom Green Show. This is the Tom Green Show. It's not the real It's like, it's something like that. This is our favorite show because it is my show. That's all I remember. But that's proof that I know the Tom Green Show. Garbage Pail Kids, I actually watched because I like the cards. All right. I figured, I mean, I know you were around. Obviously, we lived together. We were 2 years apart. But now that you say you hated Little Monsters, I'm curious what things I put on all the time that you actually didn't like. I'm assuming it's spelled Kaylee. That girl who played her is Indian and Kaylee is Hindu god or something, I think. All right, well, that makes sense. So it's Quali? Is that what it was? Maybe it's Quali. Disney made a made-for-TV movie called Tiger Express. You need to check that out. Of bile fast. I'm assuming you mean just out of sheer fascination. Tiger Express. I'm a big Disney fan, and I've never heard of that. What is it? Live action or animated? Tiger Express. Is that similar to Roar that we were talking about the other day? Tiger Express is live action. How have I never heard of that? Tiger Express. Never heard of that one. You guys hear that one? Any of you? No, they didn't hear of it either. I don't know. I don't know. Tiger Express. It can't be very mainstream if I've never heard of it, because I know everything in the world. Never heard of it. I'll look it up. I mean, I'm willing to bet it is hard to get a hold of unless it's on Netflix. Maybe a lot of the older stuff that is like very rare, you can find on Netflix. Maybe it's free on Netflix. A girl goes to visit her father that she misses on a Navy ship, and then 9/11 happens. Is that actually the premise? Like the actual 9/11 happens? Kali. Oh, Kali Ma, like Temple of Doom. Is that how you pronounce it? Kali Ma. Well, obviously without the Ma. Just Kali. Not Kali Ma. Kali Ma shook the day. Someone actually, yeah, they even show news footage. Really? Is it good? Or are you just saying it's worth checking out? I mean, it could be worth checking out and it's like horribly bad. Are you saying it's like good, like worth checking out, like it's a good thing? Because I dig me some real true story type stuff, like documentaries, stuff based on real events. No, it's terrible, but check it out. I'll check it out then. See, I like to know if it's terrible because I don't want to like sit down and like get ready for like a good old movie time. And then it's like, what the hell is this crap? I like to prepare when I know it's bad. Speaking of sitting down for a good old movie, last night I watched John Wick 3 finally. John Wick 3 was pretty freaking amazing, but that falls into the realm of what we were talking about with this season. How John Wick 3, I feel, compared to 1 and 2, they gradually get more unbelievable. And John Wick 3 becomes like an unbelievable fairy tale world. So it is a perfect example for what we're talking about right now, because season 1 of Stranger Things, season 2 got much more unbelievable, and this season was the most unbelievable of all of them. So I was trying to think of what I seen recently that I was trying to relate to. It was John Wick. I feel like I've heard about this now that you're describing it. I still never have. Someone in one of the other chats told me about an Adam Sandler movie that was based on 9/11. I could be wrong about that, but someone recommended an Adam Sandler movie to me that was based on 9/11. I'm pretty sure it was Adam Sandler, and I don't remember the title. I could IMDb it, but someone recommended that to me, said it was actually a decent flick. It was like about him losing a family member or his wife in 9/11 or something like that. People said it was good. I think Don Cheadle's in it, they said. I haven't seen it, but I've got to check that out. I just don't remember what it's called. I'm about to start watching the Amazon show Fleabag, and Murray is in it. I have heard amazing things about Fleabag. Not one person that I've seen, at least, not one person on my channel has ever commented or referenced it. But the movie Collider News, maybe that's where you saw it, Steph. I think you said you watched Collider, maybe not. But Collider News, the Roxy and Josh McCouga talk about it all the time. Fleabag, how it's like so underappreciated. No one's talking about it. No one watches it, but it's an amazing show. I have never seen it. I don't even know who's in it or what it's about. I know very, very little about it, but I heard it is great. Like they rented a bus and an actual ship, but they used green screen on the shot where they get off the bus and on the boat for no reason. That's pretty bad. I thought you were talking about Punch Drunk Love or The Cobbler. No, it's neither of those. It's neither of those. That Adam Sandler movie is called Reign Over Me. There we go. It's actually good, much to my surprise. I think Steph might be the one. Steph, are you the one that recommended it to me? Because it was in another live stream. And I know you're in a lot of the live streams, but I feel like you didn't tell me that one. I feel like you just know it, but I could be wrong. But yes, if whether it was Steph or not, multiple people have told me about that. Yeah, so multiple people have told me it is a good watch, but sad, obviously, dealing with 9/11. But yeah, John Wick 3 was pretty crazy, but I'm trying to think. I know Stranger Things. I'm missing stuff. Did anybody, all right, going back to Stranger Things, did anybody think that Elle and Mike fought for like half a season and then immediately just like we're back together? I feel like they just rushed that too. I feel like Elle gave Mike a lot of shit, even though Mike deserved it. Kind of. Yeah, Mike deserved it. But even I feel like they like made that last like the entire season. And then like in 5 seconds, Elle and him were just like cute, lovey-dovey, like smiling, like, I got you, your candy out of the machine. I feel like they rushed the crap out of that too, especially considering how like Elle was like very reserved, like very like closed up about everything. Then all of a sudden she's just like back to normal. I also thought it was hilarious when Mike was like, what if you like cheated and you watch what we're doing? I was taking a massive shit. I thought that was hilarious because everyone's thinking that. Like, what if like Max said, like, if my brother is making weird noises and is with a girl, like, don't look, like, as if to be like he's banging somebody. But like, how does Elle know? Elle could be like literally, like, he could be taking a shower, he could be taking a dump. I just thought that was funny how he actually acknowledged, like, that's like fucked up. You don't do that. Like, I could be doing private shit. But obviously he wasn't. Although he did, they were burping and farting and talking shit about women. So it was a little unfair. Like, everyone knows, all of us included, I'm sure, that from time to time, we all say things we don't mean about other people and friends and family and stuff like that. If you saw everything someone was saying about you, you would probably hate everyone you know. Because at one point or another, everyone probably says negative things, even about family and friends. Like, you get into a fight with your father and you're like, fuck that guy, da-da-da, or something like that. It, like, everyone does it. So, like, if you just happen to see that one moment where you're like, fuck you, dad, or something like that, now it's like, oh, so my son doesn't respect me. And for the rest of his life, he's going to think that? That's not fair. You're saying it to vent. You're venting to your friends. And the sad part is Elle doesn't know that because Elle is socially awkward because she grew up in a facility. So it's even worse for someone like Elle because she's like, it's like starting with a child or something. She has no experiences like that. Have you... No, that wasn't me. Have you seen anything Neil Bren? I don't know because I don't know that name. What is Neil Bren? Please do tell. Well, they went through trauma again together, so that probably helped. He was the only one that tried to save her when Billy was choking her. All right. I'll give you that, Steph. Yeah, that's true. But I feel like they've dealt with a lot of trauma in the last couple of years, like, or whatever, however much time went by. I feel like the trauma they've dealt with would have kept them closer knit if that was the case. But I guess you're right. I guess they did bond a little. They had a serious incident happen again, and now it's like appreciate what you got kind of thing. I could see that. Yeah, kind of. But life and death situations have a habit of making people put aside the bullshit. All right. We're all in agreement. You're right. I agree. Yeah, I totally forgot that happened. I was thinking it happened after. I mean, before the incident. But I guess you're right. It happened after. All right. I'll give them that. See, that's why I like to talk about it, because I'm establishing point of views in my mind that aren't accurate. I do it all the time for comedy, but still, Neil Brenn's whole filmography is shitty movies that make you laugh on how shitty they are. Give me his most popular example, because I've had to have heard of it or seen it, because I look for horrible, bad movies. I have like phases I go through where I'll just binge watch horribly bad movies. Like I recently found there is like a little, I don't know what nationality he is, but he's like Indian or Pakistani or something like that. And he's like a short, like little person. He's a little person, and he does James Bond movies. I just recently found this guy like a year ago, and they are horribly bad movies, but they're actually pretty well filmed. But like the whole concept is just ridiculous. It is like a little person that is James Bond, and I believe he's Indian. But one of the movies, I think the movie I have is called like Height is Not Enough or something with the word height in it. I just cannot remember. But I all the time find hidden gems that are horribly good movies, if you know what I mean, which obviously most of you do. Fateful Findings or Double Down. For some reason, when you said Double Down, I thought Double Team with Dennis Rodman, but I know that's not correct. Double Down sounds familiar, though, unless it's because I'm thinking of Dennis Rodman and Double Team with the great Jean-Claude Van Damme. I Am Here Now, Pass Through. I haven't heard of any of them. I'm shocked. But they're worth a laugh. Like, it's worth watching. I'm assuming those are his most famous because I asked. You and your brother look like clones. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. How do you even know? I guess my brother has an icon picture. I don't think my brother is much skinnier than me. I'm more of I'm like probably a bigger dude. I mean, maybe facially. I don't know. I never noticed it. I guess it's possible. I watch. Why do I? Oh, is that for this so bad it's bad, but still entertaining fact here? Oh, Uwe Boll. Wasn't he the director? Isn't Uwe Boll the director that was like sued recently for some crazy stuff? Like he does like wacky off the wall videos, like real videos in person and stuff. I think he was imprisoned or is in prison or is being sued for something crazy. That name rings a bell, and I think it's the guy I'm thinking of. What was the Steph? It's got to be that guy. Oh yeah, House of the Dead guy. Yes, it is him. I just saw that comment. Yes. Yes, it is the House of the Dead guy. As soon as I saw it. Yeah, he was like, they had a documentary on him and he was talking about House of the Dead. How like, he was like, no, people don't understand. This is the greatest movie ever. Even though it did horrible in theaters and no one likes it, just no one gets it. No one understands. I am a genius. And that is the greatest movie ever made. And he like still makes movies. And like, I feel like he's in prison now for something. Like he assaulted somebody or like did something on a movie set. He's a crazy dude. Uwe Boll got into boxing matches with critics to prove his movies are good. Yeah, I've definitely seen videos on this guy. That dude is insane. And he truly believes that he is always right and that he's like a genius. In his first movie, he lists every credit possible and just put his own name. Uwe Boll. I'm a misunderstood genius. How did you feel about Rocky 6? I loved Rocky 6. Rocky 6 is Rocky Balboa, for those of you who are not familiar. The last actual Rocky movie, Rocky Balboa, is Rocky 6. I loved Rocky 6. It was a good time. It's a little, you got to stretch the imagination. You got to, like a 60-year-old Rocky, I think he was. I think he's 60 in that, or late 50s, put it that way. Maybe 58. You got a late Rocky fighting the current heavyweight champ, but it's an exhibition match. So they go light, supposedly. But Rocky almost wins. And I heard, no, I didn't hear. It comes from Sylvester Stallone. I think it was in the deleted scenes or the commentary of Rocky Balboa. They were going to make Rocky win and die in the ring. But they didn't, thankfully, because that would have made little sense and it would have ended the Rocky saga. So let's do Tommy Wiseau versus Uwe Boll. Tommy Wiseau. I don't know if any of you have seen, oh my God, what is it called? Ninja Cop? No. There is a horribly bad movie. It's on most top 10 lists with, it's like it's like a ninja cop, or the hell's it called? It's a white guy with long hair, a black guy as his sidekick. He's like a ninja. I think it's called like Ninja. Oh my God. Ninja something. I feel like it's that. But they made a third one recently. They literally had a Kickstarter, crowdfunder type thing, fund the whole movie. All the original cast came back. And at the end, Tommy Wiseau plays the villain. And it's actually very well done, like old 80s horribly good movie style. What the hell is the name of that? I'm going to be mad. I can't remember. Someone's probably going to remember. I have a moth in my room. Oh, there it goes. You see it? Hey, what's up, C-Train? There's a new person. What's up, C-Train? Hey, has anyone else made Steve one of their favorite characters? Hated him at first, and now he's just always screwed over by girls, but still comes through. C-Train, we were talking about this before. Steve was my least favorite in season 1. Probably neck and neck with Dustin for my favorite this season, as well as Robin. Robin's right up there. I love Robin. But yeah, Steve, every time, like, I felt bad for him when he got the crap beat out of him by the Russians, and his hair is ridiculous. He has hair like this high. I feel like his hair is bigger than his head, but it just works. I don't know. And coming from the fact that I hated his guts season 1, I never would have thought that. He's your favorite. A lot of people thinking it. I feel like you can't not like Steve at this point. Dustin is so lovable. Robin is great. And Steve is right in there. The season 2 brought it all together. Where like Dustin and Steve had that whole like buddy thing going on where they were doing like goofy things with the lightsabers. Or is that this season? I think it was this season they did the goofy thing with like, all I know is the two of them together are Hollywood gold. Someone was saying they wish they just made a spinoff with them. And honestly, based on the other characters this season, I wouldn't mind, because Will was non-existent. Jonathan was non-existent. Nancy kind of was there, but Jonathan dragged her down. Max and Lucas I do like. Max and Lucas I like. But like Mike was a prick. And Elle lost her powers. So right now Elle has no powers. Will moved away with Jonathan. I mean, I could see a little spin-off happen. You know it's not going to happen. It's obviously not going to happen. But I wouldn't mind that. They're all my favorites. So if you had Steve, Robin, and Dustin, you could even throw, I mean, Lucas and Max are still in the area with those three. So you could easily have a side, like a little side story going on with them. I love Steve with a burning passion now, even though he could totally go suck an egg in the first season. I think everyone's on that page. He's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, like that shows good writing. How you could have so many people on board with the most hated guy from season 1. Bromance. Neil Bren, to his credit, saw the criticisms he got for his movies and went back to edit them so they were better. Really? Like edited them, meaning released other versions, or like did away with the old and just like replaced it with the new edited version? Because I don't necessarily like when people do that, because there are like original versions to movies and shows that I remember seeing as a kid and I can't find them anymore. They're like new versions. I remember specific scenes from movies. I can't think of anything specifically right now, but I remember seeing movies and being like, whatever happened to that scene? And then I looked it up and people were like, oh, they got rid of it because like the way the world went, it was like they didn't want it. Almost kind of like Blazing Saddles. I mean, this I get, but Blazing Saddles, if you edit out all the racist parts of Blazing Saddles, you're shaving like 10 minutes off that movie. And if you edit it enough where it makes sense, because you can't just cut out the racist words, otherwise the whole scene makes no sense. If you actually edit Blazing Saddles down to where all the racist words are out and it actually flows to make sense, I think they said you'd end up cutting out like 20 or 30 minutes on a movie that's already like only an hour and 30 minutes. So a third of that movie is racist. That I can understand having to edit down for television and stuff like that. But when they just edit it down because they're like, I didn't like this, and people complain about this, or people nagged on this, it kind of, things like that make the movie. It makes it nostalgic. It got people talking. You take certain things out, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of ruins it. Unless, like I said, it's for a good reason. Like racism's a good reason. Like things involving rape and stuff like that, I could get. Like I remember watching Death Wish on TV. Death Wish 1 and 2 have a lot of crazy sexual rape related scenes. If you watch Death Wish 2, I think it is, which was like where it was either Death Wish 2 or 3, where his daughter is like totally messed up and like gets raped. If you watch that on television, they edit out like an entire block because it is so violent and vulgar. Stuff like that, I understand. You don't need to see that. It's like a little much. You may have thought I was joking before, but I think they actually did change his character arc because he was too likable. Can't remember where I read that. Dealing with Steve Ray? Are you talking about dealing with Steve? Because they're making him more likable. You got to be talking about someone else. You may have thought I was joking before, but I think they actually did change his character arc because he was too likable. But Steve is more likable. Wouldn't they change it in the reverse? How did they made him go from hated to likable? Or are you saying that's why they did it? I don't know. I'm not clear on that. I remember reading. That's what I'm saying. They changed it to make him likable. Okay. I get it. I was going to say, I could see it going the other way, but all right. They changed it to make him likable. But people wanted to see the terrible moments. So critic who started the videos on him spoke to Bren himself, and now there are 2 versions, one being the great YMS cut and the bland newer version. All right, so at least you can still access both of them. What do you think of the plot season 4 is going to? What's up, Lil Chub? What do I think of the plot of season 4? Season 4 is going to establish, there's going to be a time jump. They're going to establish, this is just my opinion, so this isn't spoilers. I don't want to scare people. They're going to have a time jump, establish Will and his family at the new location. They're going to maybe go further with Dustin and Susie's relationship. Where did he live? Where did she live? Like I'm assuming she's not too far because he went to a summer camp. So maybe Susie's family will like move into town to maybe Susie's family will buy the buyer's house. That would be kind of cool. Although they obviously already have a buyer, and I'm pretty sure Dustin would have referenced that. If they don't, that's kind of like bad writing because the buyer's already left, which means they already have a buyer for the house. I feel like Dustin would be like, dude, my girlfriend bought your house. Although they could just do that. I mean, I don't feel like anyone would complain too much, but I feel like Susie's going to move closer, be a bigger impact. They don't have that whole never-ending story scene without making Susie like a thing next season. I can't imagine they would mock him and actually make Susie real. They just brought her in. We all like I did. I thought she was real, but a lot of people thought she didn't exist. So I feel like Susie's gonna move closer or be more of a thing. Will and his family is gonna establish themselves wherever they are. They're gonna walkie-talkie themselves to stay in communication. They have Cerebro. Elle can communicate through their heads. Maybe she'll. Oh wait, no, that's right. But she has no power now. All I know is I feel like the main premise is going to be them figuring out if the facilities connect, what the deal with Hopper is, who's the American in the cage if it is Hopper. And I feel like it's going to be like a more epic scale, but still dealing with the Russians, because we still see that the Russians are a strong part of this and on a higher scale, because now they're in Russia with the facility breeding demigorgons or raising demigorgons, and crazy stuff's going on. You have to order his movies on his website, but only one movie is available. So you have to order that movie and put it in special description, the title of which movie you actually want. Russia and Hooper. What's Utah? Is Utah where the buyers are moving? Because someone asked me before and I wasn't sure if they said it. Are they going to Utah? Because that's the only reason I can see you referencing that. So what you're saying is that you think Han shot second. I feel like the special edition made us think so. Yeah, Russia and Hooper. I keep calling him Hooper. Hopper, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be Russia, Hopper, them all settling down their new locations. That would be interesting. I like to see more Susie. Susie look cool. It's going to be crazy. Yeah, like, am I wrong about that? I feel like they like to go the whole season making you think that Susie could possibly be fake and then have an epic sing-along of Neverending Story. I'd be shocked if Susie was not a part of next season. And like I said, he went to summer camp with her. You don't send your kid that far away to summer camp. I feel like summer camps are within several hours, so she can't be too far away to begin with. But maybe, like I said, Hawkins is going to have a lot of room, guys. There's going to be a lot of houses for sale and probably at discounted rates, because now everyone is going to be like doing their research and being like, this town, half the people got murdered by some science fiction creature, even though they're covering it up probably. There is 2 incidents that have happened in this town now, and many people have died. There is a surplus of real estate and at affordable prices probably. So it'd be a good reason for Susie to move in. Oh, Susie's in Utah. Okay, thank you. So I could easily see Susie's family being like, hey, let's move to Hawkins because we could buy a house for $1. I say it's Hooper. If I say Hooper one more time, I'm grounding myself. I say it's Hopper. And what they were trying was a portal system, and Hopper is the first to bridge the portal. I don't know if you were in the room before C-Train, but that's what we were saying earlier. Or at least I was saying, and people were kind of agreeing with me, I guess. No, Susie was in Utah. Yeah, I feel like my brother actually clarified it, but what I was trying to say. I feel like you go through, like Hopper got blown through the gap, the crack in the wall, went into the upside down. The upside down is like a gateway to go into other portals. So he could go from the portal in Hawkins into the upside down and out the portal in Russia. That's the theory I'm going with. Very similar. No, don't be sorry. I like reiterating. There's other people in the room. Little Chubb wasn't here before too. So that is the theory I'm going with. It seems like other people are on board with it. My brother clarified it because I wasn't saying it properly, but that is the best way to put it. You go through the portal. He got blasted through the portal in the upside down, could come back out Russia, maybe got imprisoned. Maybe he didn't realize that. Maybe he jumped back out of the upside down and ended up in Russia and they immediately like locked him up. So that's very possible. It could be a complete accident. I was assuming that they grabbed Hopper and took him back with them. He could have just like exited out of the upside down and been like, where the frig am I? And not realize he came out the wrong side of the portal or whatever. Very possible. I'm I've got to get going. I hope to be around longer for the next live stream. Chris Mergner, good to see you again, sir. I don't know if you're still here, but have a good night. I'm probably not going to talk too much longer either. I've done so many live streams this week, and I have literally lived, my whole day has been Stranger Things. I'll probably talk for another 20 or 30 minutes. I'm not going to talk for hours upon hours like normal, but I'll talk for another 20 or 30 minutes. There's a bunch of us in here having a good old chat. I just don't want to talk too much past midnight. I do have a long week, and I know a lot of you are probably upset I haven't done The Wire. I didn't do Deadwood. I said I wanted to get this done. Now I'm happy I finally got this done. I will not have that on the back of my mind. All week for the last 3 weeks, I've constantly been like, when am I going to fit Stranger Things in? So now I at least got Stranger Things done. I want to get The Wire caught up and Deadwood caught up so that I can binge watch Creepshow like this. I have subscribed to Shudder. So any of you who are interested, I don't know if you watched the binge watch with me today, but what did you guys think of that format? I'm going to edit them up and do like I normally do, but you have the option now of watching the full episode with me as a watch along. I don't know if a lot of you are into that, but it doesn't affect me because I got to do it this way anyway. And I have the other camera right here filming my live reaction of the whole episode. So I figure it's another option for you guys, which doesn't really cost me anything. Like I don't have to edit those down. I could just throw them up because there's nothing to copyright. So I thought it was cool. If you guys dig that format, I'll do it for other shows. Like Creepshow would be perfect. Creepshow, the only thing is you got to have Shudder. So I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be able to sync up with me. But Netflix works perfect because everyone I know has Netflix. So I'd like to do it with Creepshow, but I feel like there's going to be a lack of people with Shudder. So maybe Creepshow I won't do that with, but I'll definitely react to it like I do with the other stuff. They're probably going to be stuck in Utah since they're Mormon. I've got to get going, blah, blah, blah. If I were to start the original Star Wars trilogy, which special edition should I watch? Can you believe you've never seen Star Wars? I think you told me that before. I think one time in chat you go, don't hate me, but I've never seen Star Wars. You might have even said you never saw Back to the Future. I could be thinking of someone else. But if you were to start the original Star Wars trilogy, which special edition should I watch? Honestly, I wouldn't watch the one that came out after. I would watch the most original version you could watch. And then I'm not saying never watch the most recent special edition where they added in like the Jabba the Hutt scene and the Boba Fett shooting first scene. I'm not saying don't watch those. I'm just saying I feel like nothing beats the original, and you should definitely watch that the way it was meant to be first before you see the scenes thrown in, because the scenes thrown in were using modern technology at that time, and it just doesn't feel the same. I have all the versions, and I still always appreciate the original better, but it's still fun to see the new scenes. Like, don't get me wrong, coming from a fan, having seen the originals 1,000 times, it's always fun seeing new stuff added in. They're probably going to be stuck in Utah since they're Mormon. Hawkins is cursed. It definitely is. I wonder if that's going to come into effect. Maybe Hawkins, there's a reason. Why is Hawkins ground zero for all this? Maybe they're going to actually make that be a thing. Like Hawkins was like the place that the devil created the upside down. I know it's probably not religious or biblical, but whatever the heck it is, I feel like Hawkins has to have a purpose. Nice. No, I just jumped in. Oh, that was from before. What if it teleports Hopper to modern day? Meaning what? Oh, meaning like our time? That would be cool, but I don't see that happening because I'm pretty sure they're ending on season 5. And if they went that aspect, I feel like they couldn't justify that in 2 more seasons. They'd have too many loose ends, but that would be cool if they started doing crazy stuff like that. But they've never referenced any sort of time. They never referenced any sort of time travel or time jumping abilities or anything like that. L11 can see their past, but that's just memories. It isn't like she's going back in time. Although they did reference Back to the Future a lot this season. maybe that's a foreshadow, because the last couple episodes really did have a lot of Back to the Future. So maybe that was foreshadowing, but I highly doubt it. I just don't think I think they got enough to worry about. But that is a cool idea. Have you watched American Gods? Never. American Gods. Is that the one with Schweringer from Deadwood? What's his name? Ian McShane. Is that American Gods? I haven't seen it if that's what it is. I think that's what it is, and I have not seen it. But a lot of people have talked about it. Yes, I'm not even sure what it's about. I just remember Ian McShane in it. What channel is it on? Is it Stars? It's either Stars or Showtime, maybe. I don't think it's HBO because I watch a lot of HBO. I think it's either Stars or Showtime, maybe Cinemax, but I doubt. Cinemax has very little good television. There isn't that new Bruce Lee type show that's on Cinemax that people are telling me about. Stars, okay. There's like that new Bruce Lee show, like it's in the vision of Bruce Lee on Cinemax. I think Steph mentioned it to me, but that looks really cool. That's like the first Cinemax show I could ever think of that ever like has been mentioned or referenced or that people have recommended. Turning off my air conditioner because it is freezing in here. I like to watch alongs. It was fun for Umbrella Academy. You see, when I did Umbrella Academy, I was almost going to say I was bad at editing. I wasn't bad at editing. I just hadn't figured out how the systems worked. Once I figured out how the systems worked, I think I got it down now. So I did Umbrella Academy because I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work. I don't think I'll have to worry about that again because I've kind of figured them all out now. However, like I said, this doesn't all it takes is for me to throw up an extra camera and plug it in on an extension cord because I have to have the tripod right here and I don't have an outlet anywhere near me where the cable for my camera will reach. So I have an extension cord running across my floor now from earlier today. But that's all I got to do. I do construction. Extension cords come a dime a dozen in my life. So throwing that on the floor and set up another camera takes me 5 seconds. If it gets you guys watching more content and having a fuller reaction, it don't bother me to do it. You should do that more. It's a nice option if you happen to be around. I honestly was thinking of doing that, maybe doing that with shows that I don't like have enough time to react to, like the Dark show. Perfect example, Steph. You were telling me about Dark. I'm like, I really want to watch Dark right now, but I have so many other shows I got to edit up. I was almost thinking like maybe shows like Dark where I don't really know what it's about and it's not as mainstream. Maybe I'll do like watch alongs with them because I can literally just watch it and not have to edit it and to throw it up and you guys could just watch with me kind of thing. I feel like I might do stuff like that in the future with shows like that, like Dark, shows that like I don't feel are as mainstream that I like don't want to like spend so much time editing up. So maybe I'll do stuff like that. But I definitely had a good time. Like honestly, doing the whole live stream, having you guys there and like other people there motivated me to get through the season. Honestly, like it went by so quick. I was like, maybe I'll get through episode 7 and I'll like stop and maybe I'll do episode 8 another day. But it like flowed pretty good. I had no problems with it. I blew right through that season. And now I can edit them up at my leisure. I don't have to like set everything up. I could just like jump on whenever I want and just edit up one at a time. Will you be doing season 3 of Cobra Kai? 100%. Cobra Kai is probably in my top 5 shows in the last 5 years that I've watched. Counting current new shows, Cobra Kai is really high up on my list. I love everything about that. Even the worst episode is like a great episode of television. I don't know. I'm really, and they still surprise me. I thought they were going to like go like a little PG like for this season. And the way it ended, not to spoil it in case some of you haven't seen it, I'm not going to say it, but the way it ended was freaking nuts. Most of you probably saw it already, but love me some Cobra Kai. Definitely going to react to season 3. One of my favorite new shows. Have you checked out Neo Genesis Evangelion? I suggest trying out while it's available. I'm assuming you mean the old one, because I definitely watched Evangelion when I was younger. Don't remember it much, but I definitely used to watch Evangelion. That was one of the first animes I remember seeing, unless there's a new one or a reboot. Sea Train, yes. Stars, I saw that before. Banshee and Warrior, that's it, Warrior, are both Cinemax shows and are both great. Oh, Banshee Cinemax. I do remember that, Steph. You said that. I know you kept suggesting Banshee, but I blanked on it being Cinemax. But those are probably the only. Banshee is probably the only. Warrior's the new one, I'm assuming, with that I was talking about, that is in the vision of Bruce Lee. Besides that, which is new, I'm willing to bet Banshee is the only Cinemax show anyone can mention that was any good, because that's the only one I can remember, unless I'm forgetting another one too. But Neo Genesis Evangelion started in the 90s and is only available on DVD, worth hundreds of dollars, so try it before it's gone forever. Is it really? Because I'm pretty sure I have that on DVD. I may have it on. I definitely have a lot of Evangelion on VHS or DVD. I have a bunch of episodes. I'm not positive which, but maybe if it's worth a lot of money, I might look for it. Oh man, you should review Big Mouth on Netflix. Really? That keeps popping up on my feed. That's Nick Kroll. Nick Kroll? I think it's Nick Kroll. I dig Nick Kroll. We were talking about him the other day. He's one of those comedians that is kind of a bad actor, but I still find him funny. He's like a horribly bad comedian, kind of. Like his stand-up's all right, but he's like, his acting is not the greatest, but it's almost like he's doing it sarcastically, so I buy it. But I definitely dig Nick Kroll. If that, someone said it. It stars Nick Kroll. Someone just said it underneath. But yeah, Nick Kroll, we were talking about him the other day. I haven't seen, actually, I feel like I did see the first episode when it first came out. I could be wrong, but is Big Mouth the one where there is like somebody violently masturbating in the first episode? Something about masturbating, like a kid in a classroom. I could be completely wrong, but I vaguely remember that watching it with one of my ex-girlfriends when it first came out. So this is like a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago. I remember we were watching South Park. We're really into South Park, me and my ex-girlfriend, and we popped on Big Mouth because we were on Netflix. Yeah, that's probably what it was. And we watched an episode, and I literally forgot all about it until something just reminded me. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was Nick Kroll's voice. I saw the image on the screen, but yeah, I think I watched the first episode and I was kind of into it, but my ex-girlfriend was totally not about that. And we never watched another one, and I totally forgot about it. But I wasn't against it. It was just the kind of humor was not up her alley, I guess. I'm assuming they must have more than one season at this point, because that had to be 2 years ago, at least. Joey Lawrence or Mike Barnes? Oh, Johnny Lawrence. I was like, what does Joey Lawrence have? I'm thinking of from Blossom. I'm like, why would Joey Lawrence ever fight Mike Barnes? Johnny Lawrence versus Mike Barnes? I got to say Johnny, right? When you say Johnny, I want it to be Johnny. I don't know if it actually would be Johnny, but I want it to be Johnny. Mr. Bonds, how do you think the new show on Amazon with Orlando Bloom will do? I did not see anything about that. What new show with Orlando Bloom? I always dig me some Orlando Bloom. Legolas. That's all I can remember. What else was he in? He was in something else, I know. Skateboarder. I know he's a big time skateboarder, which is why what was a snowboarder? Maybe he's a snowboarder. I think he's a snowboarder. Evangelion is a 26 episode anime that makes feel different levels of misery according to how empathetic you are to each character. I do remember it. It was like mechs, right? I definitely saw it, but I saw it when it came out in the 90s. So never revisited it. I'm very lost on it. Are you caught up on Legion, Ray? You're asking me. I said it as a question to you, but I'm not. I am. I am all caught up on Legion. I finished the first 2 seasons. Season 3 started, didn't it? Because I didn't see season 3. I feel like season 3 started, but I watched the first 2 seasons. I feel like if season 3 did start, there was a crazy long break between seasons. Because I remember I binge watched season 1 and 2, and that was like way after season 2 ended, And I feel like that was like a year or two ago. So there had to be a hell of a break. Season 3 is a few episodes in. Wasn't there like a crazy long break? Because I remember you and Shannon told me I should watch it, and I took your advice and I loved it. But I feel like that was so long ago, and that was like after season 2 came out. I don't know. I don't think I've watched any other show from Cinemax. I own season 1 of Outcast, but never watched. I've heard good things about The Nick. The Nick. Someone else suggested The Nick. Outcast, I've seen, but I don't know anything about. Sounds right. Big Mouth is puberty and sex comedy starring child characters. If you dig that, then go for it. I feel like it'd be like a South Park. That's why me and my ex-girlfriend watched it. We literally, one of her favorite things, I think she told me, I don't want to quote her for sure, but I'm pretty sure she told me South Park is her favorite media of all time. She doesn't watch a whole lot of movies and TV, but she definitely said at least once that South Park was like one of her favorite sources of entertainment of all time. And Big Mouth had just come out, and we looked and we're like, all right, South Park, puberty, sexual content, stuff like that, cursing. And we jumped in, and she was, I mean, that's what's weird to me. Big Mouth, you could say like, oh, well, it's vulgar. South Park is very vulgar, and that's her favorite thing of all time. So I don't know why she wouldn't get into Big Mouth, but because she wouldn't, I didn't. Not because it's like you cannot watch that. It's just like at the time I was watching whatever she watched, and there was enough shit to watch where like I'm not going to watch something she hates. There's enough good things out there that we could agree on. No, it's lowbrow. The Pirates movie. What's the Pirates? Oh, that's right. Orlando Bloom was in all the Pirates movies. Orlando Bloom's new show is called Carnival Row. It seems to be a fantasy show. Carnival Row. I do feel like I've seen that title, but I know nothing about it. Maybe I've seen something little, but I definitely do remember Carnival Row. Season 3 is a few episodes in. That's from Legion. Ray, is it good? Is Legion up to par with the other two? I thought season 2 was crazy good. Wasn't the finale the one that ended where they had like, it started with like an animated sing-along kind of thing? It's all great. I feel like I remember seeing the finale to season 2. I think it was the one where he was like floating in and they were singing the song and it turned into like an animation. That might have been the episode before, but I think that was the finale. All I know is I wish I was reacting back then, because that episode totally took me by surprise. Totally unlike anything else in Legion. Yeah, mechs and a huge amount of lore. I probably should rewatch it, but there's so many other things I got to watch. Evangelion was probably one of the first things. I said this in another live stream. Ranma 1/2, Evangelion, Ninja Scroll, Fist of the North Star, The Professional, Galago 13, all that stuff was like my first introduction into anime. All my friends watched it when we were in middle school. I was like 10 or 12 years old. I just got a surplus of bootleg anime, and that's all I used to watch because it was like, you're not supposed to watch this. And that was the only thing I can get my hands on. It wasn't like nowadays where you can go on your phone to the computer and access 100,000 anime and porn. So anime was like my generation's younger, like 10, 12-year-olds. That was my generation's way of like accessing porn easily. You'd go to like your local flea market and get bootleg anime. And that was like easier to get a hold of, at least where I come from when I was younger. That was the easiest way to get a hold of like really R-rated shit, like nudity, like stuff like that. So nowadays it's a different world, but yeah, Max don't think it's too long. Carnival Row is that new show with Orlando Bloom. Yeah, but what is it about? I definitely, as I'm thinking about it, I definitely feel like I've seen it, but I can't remember why. I just remember seeing like a thing, Carnival Row. If every episode of South Park was the Red Rocket episode, then yeah, it's just like Big Mouth. The Red Rocket episode. Was that the dog? I think that was the dog where it kept humping their legs. It's all great. Have you done any reviews on Love, Death, and Robots? C-Train. Oh my God, you're killing me. C-Train. I reacted to every episode of Love, Death, and Robots. I never did an actual review, but after each episode, I talk about it for several minutes. But yeah, every single Love, Death, and Robots I have a reaction to, all 17. And I remember 17 because I had to re-edit them 100 times. Love, Death, and Robots was right around when I was starting to figure out the algorithms that like each one has different. Netflix has different than HBO. HBO does different than like cable television stuff. So once I figured it out, Love, Death, and Robots was basically where I started figuring out, wait a second, if I do this, this, and this, it doesn't get flagged. And that's kind of when I started learning Netflix, which was after Russian Doll, which is why I reacted to all of Russian Doll. And I'm sorry, but I don't think anything but the first episode is still up on my channel. The way I was editing things and the way I was recording things back then, I don't think there's any way I could fix it. So Russian Doll kind of just slipped through the cracks. Was my very first, besides The Wire, it was my very first show where I binge watched and got the whole season out. And sadly, I think, I don't even know if the first episode's still up, but I think most of it is gone at this point. And I've tried to recorrect it and edit it, but no luck. Season 2, I will react to. I'm assuming they're making one. I heard news about it, but that could be canceled too. But if there is, I will react to that and you will properly see it. Your resistance only makes my penis harder. The Horse from Wordsworth. Well then, I'll look it up on your list. Red Rocket is when Stan would jerk off his gay dog, voiced by Clooney. Yeah, I remember it was the dog. As soon as for a second, I was like, which one's that? But Red Rocket, I immediately associated with dogs. From what I've read, Carnival Row has like mythological creatures like fairies, and they are made to live in ghettos or something. Really? That sounds interesting. Is there a trailer? I know I've heard of it. Was it at Comic-Con or something? Because like I feel like I've seen a marquee for it, but I don't remember any of that or seeing Orlando Bloom. So I've definitely not seen it. If there's a trailer, that sounds intriguing. A teaser only, I think. Interesting. I might check that out just because that intrigues me. I dig my fantasy. Big fan of fantasy. Orlando Bloom is usually good in what he does. Man, remember Oz. For some reason, when I saw that, I thought it said Return to Oz because that was in Stranger Things, and Return to Oz is another guilty pleasure movie of mine. Very horrifying. I actually like it better than the original Wizard of Oz, which might be blasphemous. But as a rewatchable movie, I'd much rather rewatch Return to Oz than the original Wizard of Oz. Don't get me wrong, Wizard of Oz is a classic film, but I feel like Return to Oz is more horrific, and that's more my style. And I love me some Veruza Balk. I saw Veruza Balk at Monster Mania a couple months ago when I got my shorts signed by Dolph Lundgren over here. My friend that went with me, huge fan of the craft, got the group photo. Cost $300. $300 to get your photo with all 4 girls from the craft. It was like 75 or 100 a piece, or like 250, 300 for the group. I can't remember exactly, but it was a significant discount if you got all 4. I think you got basically 2 for free or something like that. So I met Veruza Balk. I didn't like freaking hang out with her, but I like saw her, and my friend got a photo with an autograph and everything. I was too concerned with Dolph Lundgren. No one's better than Dolph Lundgren at that place. But Veruza Balk was always like, I always dug her. She was in The Waterboy, stuff like that. But you didn't even ask that. You're talking about Oz the TV show. See how I go on rants? Oz the TV show. I want to rewatch that. That is one show that I watched live when it would air, and I've never revisited it, except for like maybe 1 or 2 episodes randomly caught on television. I've never revisited the show. I remember the key characters and like incidents for the most part, but I don't remember how it ends. I know like J.K. Simmons is in it. I know what you would call it. The guy from Lost, what's his name? Michael from Lost is it the guy in the wheelchair? There's a lot of dudes. The guy that's in all the insurance commercials, Mr. Mayhem, is like the Irish guy in it with the brother and stuff. I remember all like the main specific, like main details, but I don't remember like a lot of the storylines. I almost feel like I should do a rewatch like Quantum Leap and like tape it or something. Yes, there is a trailer. I'm gonna have to check out that Carnival Row. My mind immediately goes to Oz, the prison show. That's what I thought when he. I'm assuming that's what Can You Believe meant. Bodie, Daniels, Herc, and Carver were all in Oz. Someone told me about Bodie and Herc. I don't remember Daniels or Carver. Were they cops? I don't remember Daniels or Carver. I just saw. I told you guys already. I just saw John Wick 3. Totally forgot Daniels is in that, Lance Reddick, because it's one of those things where I didn't start watching The Wire till after I saw both John Wicks. Now that I've seen the third, I'm like, holy shit. It's like one of those things. Like, I know Lance Reddick. Lance Reddick was in Law, stuff like that, but I don't remember every movie he's in. And as soon as I watched it, it triggered, and I'm like, oh my God, we got Daniels and John Wick, and he plays a predominant role in the third one, more so than the other two. So Daniels is like definitely got his best role in this John Wick. Don't remember Carver or Daniels in Oz though. Yeah, I'm talking about the prison show. That's what I figured. It also has Cara Delevingne in Carnival Row. Why is that Delevingne? I know that name, but I can't pronounce it. And who is that? What is she in? Oz was like 9 season. That's Game of Thrones loyalty if you want to rewatch it. Was Oz 9 seasons? I cannot believe Oz was that many seasons. I don't think is that right? Can someone confirm that? I feel like Oz was like 5 or 6 seasons. Was it really 9 seasons? That's crazy if it's that many seasons. Oz is the only show that can. All right, Fuzzy Dunlop. Thank you. I was going to say, I'm like, I remember only 5 or 6. I'm like, if there's 9 seasons, I might not have watched them all because I think I have most of them on DVD. I definitely have season 1, 2, and 3. I would be shocked if I was going to say, like, I don't remember, not that it's impossible, but I don't feel like the show, I was like thinking, I would have been in college by the time the show ended, and I definitely didn't watch it that long. Oz is the only show that can rival The Wire for the darkest show ever made. Also, what's up, everyone? What's up, Fuzzy Dunlop? I don't know, Fuzzy. You don't think Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire? I feel like Sopranos and Boardwalk Empire got pretty dark too. Maybe not as dark as Oz. I don't know, though. Boardwalk Empire and Sopranos did have some. I would say Boardwalk Empire and Sopranos were definitely as dark as The Wire. Maybe Oz is the darkest, but I feel like Sopranos and Boardwalk fall into the Wire realm. Oz, I feel hands down is the darkest. There was crazy amounts of rape shit going on. Almost every episode, some dude was getting raped, and then they like murdered that guy's daughter. I don't remember the details, so this isn't spoiling because I don't even remember who's the character or who's the name. I just remember one guy getting almost like paroled, and then they like raped and murdered his daughter or something. So he killed someone in prison and got thrown back in right before he was getting released. I could be totally wrong about that, but I feel like that was what happened. He was like about to get out. It was like the guy that was in there for vehicular manslaughter. I forget the guy's name, but he was in Weird Science, the television show. He was the older brother who I can't remember the name of. What the hell was the older brother's name? It was like Butch or something like that. But he was like in jail for vehicular homicide, was just about to get out, and they like murdered or raped his little daughter or his son. Maybe it was his son. Maybe they sodomized his son. Crazy stuff. That always stuck out of my mind because I was like, at the time I was young, and I'm like, that is the craziest shit I could ever imagine. Like, the dude was about to get out of jail, and then you like traumatized his whole family. And something happened where like he got thrown back in jail or something. Crazy stuff. Oz is one of the show. Oz is the only show that could rival. I saw that. Lance Reddick was an undercover cop in Oz and got killed. See, I don't remember that. That's before I even knew who Lance Reddick was. But I figured he was a cop. I feel like Lance Reddick plays the perfect cop. Same with Carver. I feel like Carver, like Herc, I could see playing any douchebag role. I could see Bodie playing like a criminal in a lot of stuff. I could see Bodie going both ways. Carver, I've only seen as Father Gabriel and a cop, but I feel like he is like more like a good guy than a bad guy. Like, I don't look at Carver and think like that's a criminal. Like he has like the face of a good guy. They were both cops. Also, the guy from NCIS SVU, Carver was a guard who wound up imprisoned, and Daniels was an undercover cop posing as a prisoner who got hooked on drugs, I think. So Carver was a guard who would wound up imprisoned. See, I don't remember Carver either. That's way before my time of knowing these people. Oz 9 seasons saw that. All right, just spoiling character arcs. She was in Valerian and was the witch in Suicide Squad. Ah, that's where it was. Okay, got it. Now, what were we talking about with her? Oh, she's in Carnival Row. I actually really like her. She's beautiful, and she actually has a very unique look, and her acting's good. Don't mind her. Except for season 4, which was twice as long. I'm assuming Oz. One season is a double season. Season 4, I think. That's probably Oz, because you both referenced it at the same time. Moral. I know we talked about this before. How do you pronounce it? Moral Oral? I think it's Moral Oral. Is very dark. Is way darker than The Wire. Easily, without a doubt. Seedless would back me up. I remember you guys talking about it in the other one. I forgot to look it up. I got to write that down. The Wire is darker because of the topics. Boardwalk Empire had more gratuitous. See that? Yeah, Fuzzy. That's what I thought you meant, Fuzzy. I thought you meant. I guess you're right. The world is darker in The Wire, like what's going on. But Boardwalk Empire, I feel, had much more violent gore and stuff like that, gratuitous violence, as you put it. I feel like Boardwalk Empire was up there, worse than Sopranos, but I still think Oz was the worst. And I don't even remember most of it, but the impact and the way it sits in my mind, I can't help but think Oz is still the worst, which is funny because that was like one of the first HBO shows. You'd think at some point HBO would have been able to trump themselves, unless they didn't want to. Maybe people were like, guys, we did it once, never get that gross and dark again with the Wire type stuff. I mean, Oz. But you are correct with that too. Maybe the world of The Wire is darker because Oz is focused around one prison, but there is definitely more gratuitous violence and sexuality and stuff like that in Oz, I'd say. But like I said, I don't remember a whole lot. Out of BC was in it. We got, oh, that's right. There was 2 guys from Lost. We had Michael and Mr. Echo. There's probably more than that too. No, that was Beecher. That's right. Beecher's name. As soon as I saw it, I definitely remember Beecher. They killed his son, the Aryans. He eventually got out for a while. Yeah. And didn't they rape him to death? As horrible as that is, I'm pretty sure they sodomized him to death or something like that. Or I don't know. All I remember is it being insanely violent, the way they killed his son. Moral Oral tried to cover a woman getting raped, getting pregnant due to it, having a homemade abortion with a coat hanger, and falling in love with the rapist, and it got the series canceled. Oh, that's the show you were saying. Is that why it got canceled? I remember you guys talking about being at like 6 episodes and very short-lived. I guess that's why. I just remember Beecher biting off the tip of some dude's dick. I do remember that too. One of the Aryan guys. If you go, or I think it was one of the Aryan guys that he bit the tip off. If you go by gratuitous violence, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is much darker, but that's animated, right? I'm talking about live action. Like I know a lot of animes, animated stuff that are more violent because they can be. It's easier, but I'm talking like live action. As far as I know, there's no live action JoJo, but I could be wrong because I've never seen it. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Oh, excuse me. He peels a man's forearm. Is that in JoJo? I'm assuming that's in JoJo. But I've seen some gross ass shit in anime. Like, anime does crazy shit. Like, anime, nothing can compete with anime because you could just do certain things in anime that it's very hard to do in movies. If you got a very high budget, yeah, I guess you could do it. But anime, like I remember this was unintentional, but I remember I fell asleep. Time for bed later. I'm going to leave in a second anyway, Ray. I said I'd do it till another 20 or 30 minutes. I'm past the 2 hour mark. So I'm probably going to talk for like another minute or two. But good night, Ray. I do remember, I'm going to talk about this briefly, but I don't know who in the chat would know Yorotsuka Doji. Do any of you know Yorotsuka Doji? From the 80s, maybe probably the 90s, maybe late 80s. I'd be shocked if any of you knew what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it right. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Yorotsuka Doji. If you know what I'm talking about, you know right away. Never heard of it. It is, can you believe it is more popularly known in the American as the Legend of the Overfiend. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. But Legend of the Overfiend is like its American title, or it's interpretation. I'm brain farting. Its interpretation is Legend of the Overfiend. They made like 2 movies and then like 2 series that were like 3-4 episodes apiece. They might have made more after that, but that's as far as my knowledge goes. I bought them. I went, like I said, back in the day, you couldn't research anything back when I was a kid. You just went to the flea market and you paid $5 to $10 and got a bootleg. I thought for a second you were talking about Devilman Crybaby. No, I heard of that though. But this was like back in the late 80s, early 90s. Would go to a flea market. I'd give the guy $10 and he'd give me like a bunch of like bootleg anime. So he'd be like, "What are you into?" And I would say like Fist of the North Star, Ninja Scroll, stuff like that, like violent gore, but not like hentai type stuff. Well, this guy, I didn't know what hentai was back then. So this guy was like, "I got something for you." Gave me the Yorotsuka Doji Legend of the Overfiend box set, which is, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I paid like back then, like $60 because it was like this many, like I said, 2 movies and then 2 series that were 3 or 4 parts each. So you're talking like 10 movies, movie length things. I think I paid like $60 for it because it was a set and it was like it wasn't bootlegs. I think those were the actual copies maybe, or I don't know. I can't remember. All I know is this guy pitched it to me. I went home and watched it. And that was my first dive into hentai. I had no idea. I thought it was going to be like Fist of the North Star, something like that. It was demon porn out the ass. So having seen stuff like that, where they could make 4, 5, 6 like series, movies, everything based off of that was some sick shit. I was like watching it. I remember just like sitting. It was one of those things where I would just like stare at it. And I'm like in shock. Like, how much worse could this get? And it just kept getting worse. But like, I will say this, as much as you guys might think this is ridiculous, it had an amazing story. Like in between the 100 of like demon rape, I thought it had an amazing story, similar to Akira. I feel like it had a similar plot line to Akira, but it was like I was a kid. And like when you if you went to a Blockbuster, you rented a video game. If the video game sucked, you still played that video game all week long because you were stuck with it. You couldn't like return it. You couldn't go like download another game. This is like my thing with the anime. I would get like one a week. And then after school or at night, like when I'd come home, I'd watch it. So if I bought like one that sucked or one that was hentai without even knowing it, I was stuck with that. So I would end up watching it just because I had no choice. I had either that or rewatch like Goonies for the 1,000th time. So very crazy stuff. But my point to all this is anime gets crazier than I could ever imagine live action being. Beecher did that. He also beat the hell out of Schillinger and took a crap on his face. Schillinger was J.K. Simmons. I would have never known it was Schillinger, but as you're saying the names, it's like bringing back memories. I know that was J.K. Simmons. Then there was Adebisi. Like I remembered Adebisi, who took blood from the Italian guy with HIV and that's right. I do remember that too. Doesn't sound familiar. Steph's talking about the Legend of the Overfiend. I thought for a second you were talking about Devil. I saw that. Seinen is the term for adult anime, like the Fist of the North Star and Berserk. Say name. I don't know how to pronounce that. Even though you gave me the pronunciation. Say Sananen? Sananen? I'm so tired. Selling bootleg illegal hentai to teenagers. That was an actual job in the 80s. Progress stole that man's job. Really? Like, I feel like their generations will miss out on things like that. Like, new generations are so, I mean, it's not their fault. They're so spoiled with access to content that they will not experience things that I experienced or people my age or like you guys might have experienced. I literally would go to a flea market every weekend for my content. And I never knew half the time what I was getting. And there was no way to research it, no way to get reviews or people's opinions. I literally would go up to an old Asian man, almost like Gremlins, where he sold you a mogwai. I would go to like an old Asian man that was like in the back of the flea market where there was like a knife store and an army thrift store. And like, no little kid should have probably been there. And I literally like sneak away. There was like a food court nearby. There was a guy that sold old school Nintendo games and stuff like that. So I'd usually buy like $1. Like at that point, they were selling Nintendo games for like $1 or $2 at the flea markets. It was like Super Nintendo had come out. No one cared about nostalgia games and stuff like that. So I would buy like 1 or 2 Nintendo games and then go get a couple bootleg anime. Because of that, I ended up massing a collection of Nintendo games. I think I had at one time like 400 or 500 Nintendo games, and several hundred of them were like unique titles. I had copies of a bunch of them, but I had hundreds upon hundreds. A couple of years ago, one of my good friends is actually trying to collect every Nintendo game ever. He has thousands probably of cartridges. He has Sega, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, but just solely on Nintendo, I think he's got like almost 1,000 cartridges, and 400 or 500 are unique titles. I think there's only 700 or 800 ever made for regular Nintendo, not counting Super Nintendo. And he's got at least 400, maybe even close to 500. And he literally buys up bundles on eBay and then sells off the duplicates, keeps some of the duplicates. He has a lot in box, a lot like all the manual. I still have all the manuals and stuff. But what my point to this was, I ended up selling him all of my Nintendo games because I'm good friends with him. I can see them whenever I want. He's never going to sell them off. He like is adamantly collecting them. It's like his prized possession. So I figured why not sell them to him? And I got probably, if you added them all, probably several $1,000s for my Nintendo collection that I pieced together as a kid, buying them for $1 a piece here and there. Granted, a lot of them I did buy full price when they came out and released and stuff like that. But I would say at least half my collection was from garage sales and flea markets. But I don't own them anymore. If I ever want to see them, got to go over to my friend's house. But I could probably go over whenever I want. And he is a very good friend of mine, so it does not bother me whatsoever. Selling, Yomi is the Japanese word for reading the mind of the opponent. I know for a fact that there are 3 video games no one would get rid of. Nintendo held tournaments and made tournament versions of each game. Super rare. Yeah, there's the World Championships Mario. That's what you're talking about. The gold. There's a gold edition, I think a silver edition, and only the top 3 got the gold, or only the winner got the gold, and the runners up got the silver or something like that. I'm pretty familiar with Nintendo. I've watched documentaries on that one. There's a documentary on the one kid that went around the country and had like 30 days to get everyone, and he didn't make it or something like that, but then eventually he did it or something. There was like the guy that had it's like world class track meet, but it has a different name, and it's like the original title that wasn't released worldwide or something. You know what I'm talking about if you're into that, Can You Believe, or whoever else is into it. They held more tournaments recently. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Tournament for original Nintendo, though? Like cartridges? I'm just going to finish this chat. I'm going to end it in about... I'll go to 2:20, guys. It's 2:14. I'll go to 2:20, so 6 more minutes. The original games, really? That's interesting. I did not know that. Where was this held? I'm surprised. I running an arcade for the last 20 years. I'm usually in the loop of everything. Like Evo's coming up in Vegas this next week. I think it's next week. Evo's coming up. My arcade's probably going to be dead for a week because everyone flies out to Evo. My arcade is like a breeding ground for champions. At my arcade, we had the world champion of Tekken used to hang there and lives like a couple towns over in like Linden or Roselle Park. He was literally the world. I think he placed second in the world championships, was number one in the country, America. Another one of my friends who's at the arcade every Monday and Tuesday is world champion Soul Calibur player. I think also, what is it? Samurai Showdown, and maybe even third in Tekken. I know a lot of world champions from my arcade, and literally the best of the best there. I want to say I definitely am above average at fighting games. I still play fighting games from time to time. Tekken and like the versus Marvel games are my best, but I am definitely above average. But if I play at my arcade, I'm like the worst. It isn't because I'm bad. It's just that it is literally a breeding ground of the best of the best. So like you're playing against world champions, even if you're like way above mediocre, they're going to beat the living tar out of you. So it's a rough place, but I don't play games as much as I used to. Like I said, Sinan is up, go all the way down. Where are we? I'm sure original games. I'm sure they had digital version. California, don't remember. Oh, that you're saying that's where the tournament was. Why don't you stream Evo? Get a bunch of people to come and find a new arcade to visit. You main? Oh, in Tekken 3? I used whatchamacallit? Which one? I always forget. It was either Michelle or Julie. Julie. I forget. I always forget which one's which game. But Tekken 3 was probably Michelle Chen. I love Michelle Chen. I love Law. I love Lei. Lei, Law, and Julie. Unless it was Michelle in that game. I always get confused with their siblings. Like I played all the Tekkens. Like Forest Law and Martial Law, Julie and Michelle. Then there's all the Kings. But yeah, I only play one fighting game seriously enough to have mains. Who? Which one? Why don't you stream? I'm not going to Evo. I'm staying home and running the arcade. So a bunch of my friends are going to Evo, but I am not. Smash Melee tournaments at my arcade every Tuesday. They live stream them too. Tournaments at my arcade every Tuesday for Smash Melee. Wait, is it Melee? Oh no, it's not. They stopped doing Melee. They do Smash 4 now. They used to have weekly tournaments every Tuesday for like, I'm not kidding you, for the last like 8 years. They've had Smash Melee. But then when Smash 4 came out, they replaced it. I don't know what K Wampo means, but hello to you. But if you stream Evo at the arcade, it gets potential customers. Oh, I get what you're saying. I thought you meant go to Evo and stream it live. No, I think I'm pretty sure the days that they do it, we do that. I'm just usually not there on the weekends. I do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and other people are there on the weekends and stuff. I have to do my construction. I get busiest on the weekends in construction. So I do like the weekdays, but Evo is on the weekends. So I'm pretty sure they do that. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure they do. But that's a good idea. eBay shoes. What is eBay shoes? Smash 4 isn't even a good fighting game, though. I honestly never really got into Smash. All my friends obsessed with Melee. I think the reason I never got into Smash was because they were so much better than me that I would just get my ass handed to me, and it never was fun to me. So I'm willing to bet 100% that my experience was diminished by the fact that my friends were so much better than me. Melee is super fast, while 4 is slow like molasses and dominated by Bayonetta. Is Bayonetta that good? I don't know much about it. I watch people play it. We have a tournament every week, like I said, for 4. What happened was when 4 came out, it's a totally group of people. You probably know this if you play. People that love Melee usually hate 4 and vice versa. So I noticed when Melee stopped and 4 started, half the people vanished and a new crowd kind of emerged. So people that were into Melee were like, "Can we do another one on Friday?" So we started doing tournaments every other Friday for Melee. But then I guess 4 kind of just took over and Melee died out. And if no one shows up, we just stop running them, and no one showed up. So we very recently, I want to say like within the last couple of months, started canceling Melee tournaments because just no one showed up. But 4 gets 30, 40 people a week. A couple towns over from me, they have one on Mondays every week. I think we have them on Tuesday. I think on Monday they have it at an actual like venue, like they rent like a banquet hall. And someone told me, I've never been there, but someone told me they pull in 120 people a week on a Monday. Every Monday, 120 people a week, cash prizes. So entry fees $10. That means like first place must get like close to $1,000 if that's true. Not even Ultimate. Why Smash 4 Ultimate is more recent and bridges the gap? Maybe it is Smash Ultimate. When did Ultimate come out? Maybe I'm thinking of Ultimate. I'm sorry. Whatever the new one that came out is. I think you're right. I think it is Ultimate. Yeah. That's all right. So they went from 4 to Ultimate. I'm sorry. There's so many games. I've been there over 20 years, and I've probably ran 100 different video game tournaments, and a lot of them are like similar. Like I said, we had Tekken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tournaments, Tekken tag tournaments, Tekken versus Street Fighter. We've tried everything. If it was a fighting game and it came out, we did it. Sorry to get all the way into a fighting game talk. I meant that you are handsome. Greetings from Ecuador. Thank you. Oh, look at that. Oh, I do understand that. Okay. Welcome to you. I'm sorry, but we're probably going to bail soon. I said I'd stop at 220. It's already 222. Skullgirls, they tried it. Skullgirls, they tried. It worked for like a couple months. It came on real fast and strong. A lot of people jumped on the bandwagon. Was a really cool, unique idea, I thought. I didn't play it much. I played it once or twice, but I definitely dug it. It was like unique. And I thought I thought people were going to run with it for a while, but it was one of those games that just like came on strong and died instantly. I think we did it for like maybe 3 months at most, and then never heard of it again. But we did do Skullgirls. Like I said, I'm quite into the loop when it comes to arcade and fighters, mainly fighters. With the video game world, I'm more with fighting games. That's the only thing I was like really into, that and RPGs, but like, super deformed Super Nintendo RPG style, not like today's RPGs where it's 100 million cutscenes. Not that I mind that. It's just I'm used to old school video games. I'm an old man of Nintendo love. The thing to know in Smash is that no matter what character you main, everyone will call you trash and your family name deserves to die with you. I could see that. The people that play at the arcade are very serious about it. I'm trying to see. Is your name Diane Loza? Diane? I almost feel like it's Diane. Is that Diane? It's an interesting way to spell it. Diane Loza. I like that spelling. If that's Diane, I've never seen that spelling before. For a second, I was looking at it and I thought it was like I couldn't understand it, but it looks very simple. But all right, guys, any more questions? I'm going to talk for another minute or two. I already went way over what I wanted, but like always, we're having fun. It's almost 1 a.m. I got a long week and I still got to edit stuff up. I'm going to go to sleep after this, but tomorrow. Any more questions? People are complaining about Peach's projectiles, saying they're broken, but you can catch them in midair. See, I don't know stuff like that. I don't know specifics of like I said, I don't play Smash. So I don't know detailed specifics like that. How does King Crimson work? King Crimson. I feel like you talked about that the other day. Isn't that a Power in JoJo? I'm about to fall asleep in my chair. Thank God I'm off work tomorrow. Well, I'm going to call it on that, guys, because I'm all caught up on the chat. Everyone's falling asleep. My brother already left because he passed out. Almost 1 a.m. What YouTubers do you? The joke is even JoJo fans don't know. Yeah, exactly. I watch a lot of reactors. Great one. I talked about this the other day. Basically, my favorite, my main go-to is Collider. Collider News and Collider Live. I watch almost every day. Collider Live, great show to catch up on movie news and to get a good laugh from people that just don't give a shit. They literally just curse and rant and rave like me. They'll like be like, topic of the day is Spider-Man. And then they'll be like talking for an hour and never mention Spider-Man. If they just go on rants, kind of like what we do. I'll put a topic up, but if we want to talk about other shit, I just ramble. Like I have no problem talking about stuff. I have a big mouth and a vast knowledge of things. So I don't mind doing that. But this is like basically what they do. You guys want to see a good show. They do it live every morning. It's their morning, but I think it's 1 p.m. or Eastern time, my time. But definitely check it out. Good luck with your channel. I know you'll go far. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Hey, wait, it looks like your name changed. Now you have an L in your name. That is blowing my mind. I almost thought it was a typo. Dina Bullock. Hey, what's up? We're literally about to end the chat. How are you? I'm going to say hi. If you have any questions you want to talk, I'll do it briefly because you literally just jumped in. But we're about to call it a night. We've been on for almost 2.5 hours. I am exhausted. I did 5 hours of Stranger Things binge watching today and then did this for 3 hours almost. So 8 hours of Stranger Things is about my limit. I'm hungry. It's me from the steak place. Oh, wow, that's wild. Which one? Are you talking about my arcade? Because we sell steaks there. It's me from the steak place. Oh, hey, what's up? How are you? How are you? I literally, when you said the steak place, I'm like, I'm almost thinking they're telling the truth, but they could. A lot of people screw at me. So I was like, it could be somebody that knows me because that's pretty detailed reference. I literally was about to go. I just finished Stranger Things. Come in. You usually come in tomorrow. Oh yeah, I tell people where I work. Yeah, you come in tomorrow and I will chat it up with you guys. But yeah, I'm exhausted. I need to eat. Jump on. I'll remind you. I told you. Yeah, that's right. I did tell you guys. Friday, I usually do the live streams. I just did a bonus one today because I binge watched it. If you guys want to watch, everyone else knows, but I binge watched episode 5, 6, 7, 8 and threw them up with watch alongs. So if you want to go on my channel, you could sync up Netflix. You could watch it with me. I'm going to edit it up with the clips. But if you want something in the meantime, you can watch the finale and just sync it up and watch it with me tonight. But it's kind of late. So thanks for coming on. Yes, go check it out. It's good seeing all of you. Most of you I've seen in here the whole time. Sweet dreams. Take care, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.